Good morning, everybody. This is the Oskar Quentin Show, where I take calls from the general public on TikTok Live, and we discuss politics, Trump, ethics, whatever. It's kind of different every day. We'll see what kind of show we get today. And if you're watching this show after the fact, not live on YouTube, you can find a pinned comment that'll tell you when the first call starts, as well as some more comprehensive timestamps in the description below. I'm going to open the multi-guest request queue and get my backup account in the corner, which I'm very thankful we have not needed the backup account ever. Yet. I didn't have the backup accounts the last time I was banned, which was, I think, the first week of April. So I have managed to avoid the ban hammer pretty well here on TikTok, even though it's a little bit difficult sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to remember the things I'm not allowed to say behind the TikTok filter, but I've gotten pretty good at it. There's the backup account in the corner, so get following down there if you're watching this on TikTok. I was just having a conversation with Jessie, who's in the producer's chair today, about the members only stream. So maybe I'll just put this at the beginning of the VOD so people can kind of get what we're thinking out loud about it. There's 4 platforms where people are members: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And then in addition to that, there's a couple people who have monthly memberships on Buy Me a Coffee and on Patreon. And we want to do this members only stream roughly weekly to just have everybody get to hang out with me, ask questions, chill. Not super high octane radio environment like we have on this show, especially when the viewership gets big, just kind of a much more chill thing. But it's really starting to become like the YouTube stream, and then we have all these other things where it's like, all right, we're technically also live on TikTok to 5 people watching, we're live on Facebook to like 2 people watching. Trying to find a way to just get everybody on YouTube, where if you pay for the monthly membership anywhere, we can get you a link, or we can get, if we have a public link that can then be shared, that's kind of a security issue for the members only stream. So we're thinking about just having people send their YouTube username so we can allow them into the stream, so that it's all on one platform and it's all in one chat, so everybody can see what's going on. Just thinking out loud about that. So Jaden's asking on TikTok how to be a member. It's super fan is the thing on TikTok. So I don't even know how to instruct people to become a super fan on TikTok. It's not the sort of thing I engage with.
I don't know either, but inspire them to choose YouTube instead, because as we work out these technical difficulties, that may be the safest place to be a member.
Yeah. I mean, because we've had the issue where with like 11 members or something like that on Instagram, it's like not even worth running the stream. So I've just been pinging that group and being like, hey, is anybody trying to watch? Because I'll set up the stream just for you. But nobody's reached out about that yet. Maybe those members are also people who are watching on YouTube, so they just don't care. But yeah, YouTube's easiest. YouTube will give you the fewest steps, I think, because in order to get the Facebook members to be able to watch on YouTube, we are going to have to we're going to have to create some labor. We're going to have to do some manual work getting that list of people access to a YouTube stream instead of just also streaming on Facebook, which seems like a cumbersome way to do it. We were doing the multi-stream thing, and it's got tech issues. It's hard for us managing the stream to keep track of who's sending what questions when it's like 5 different chats. So hopefully we're just trying to get it all in one place. You need to check Johnny's stream. He figured out how to mute and keep them on mute. It's awesome. Good to know. That's something that's bothered me about TikTok, is like they give you this mute button, but they can just unmute themselves. Like there are callers who call in and regularly overtalk while being muted. And you guys know I rarely use the mute button on my show, but there's certain times where it's like, okay, I have to mute you because I have like 60 seconds worth of donation reads and you're just yelling at me and I want to continue this conversation. So I'm going to sit here and repeatedly click the mute button while you repeatedly click unmute, and we're just going to hear one syllable at a time of you yelling. And clearly they've gotten skilled at it. There are people who sit there and they're good at unmuting themselves immediately, and the mute button just stops being effective on them. So I don't know what Johnny figured out. Do you have to hold it the fuck down? I don't know. It's silly, but I generally don't like using the mute button because I just think that, I mean, I've explained it on the show before and most of my viewers understand that I don't use the mute button, and it's just that if you can't win this arm wrestling conversation to demand a person's attention, then you're just performing for the audience. And I really do try to reach the caller, even if they're being like a totally difficult nincompoop who isn't going to be able to be taken seriously. It's just like, I guess the way I've put it is that if you're going to dog walk somebody, if you're going to use that analogy for the debate space for really like schooling somebody in a debate, it's much more impressive if you're dog walking with a slacked leash. Whereas if you're muting them to get your point out, like the audience can tell that you're right, but you're just kind of dragging them along. It just doesn't really doesn't really yield the best conversation. Because we can, I don't need the callers here to prove them wrong, right? I could like say, hey, a bunch of MAGA people think this. That's a terrible position. Here's why. That can be a YouTube video. That can be a short. Like, that doesn't really need to be a call-in show. touch base with IowaGolfer, but IowaGolfer's become too much of a friendly. I don't even consider him an oppositional caller anymore. So we'll say hello really quick, but I'm not going to keep him up too long, just because I want to get to some debates. You there, IowaGolfer? You're teacupped.
I'm here. How are we doing, buddy?
Doing all right. How's your morning going?
Oh, not too bad. I haven't been up for a while, but I have a couple questions because I find these kind of ridiculous.
Okay.
And I just kind of want to see your view on them. So Jasmine Crockett is from like Texas, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
She's a Democratic. Yeah, she's a Democratic congresswoman.
Mm-hmm.
Why is she saying that cheering for Spain is racist?
I have no idea. I don't know why she would say that.
She was saying that between cheering for Spain versus Argentina in the finale, if you rooted for Spain, you're probably racist.
Yeah, that sounds like a bunch of nonsense to me. I don't think we should take people's sports allegiances all that seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, did you watch her say that, or did you hear a headline that she said something like that?
That's what I got out of it. Her exact words were it. So I might have been a little like misinformed with that, but I believe her exact words were, "There is deep-rooted racism in like people who are." You'll have to look it up. I can't remember the exact.
I'll make a post-it to look at it. Yeah, what's up, Jessie?
Yeah, I think you're reading it from the wrong way. There is deep-rooted racism against Argentina from within that Latin and South American countries. And it's just basically a lot deeper than we're going to be able to get into, but I'm talking like centuries of feelings towards Argentina based on the surrounding countries, the differences in culture and language that I touched on a little bit when I took Spanish for 5 years of my life. So just know that it's not like, oh, white versus not white. It's specifically Latin and South America feelings. Yeah.
And then another one I got real quick. What's her name? Rashida Tlaib from Michigan. A bunch of her constituents, like a lot of them, were chanting "Death to America" at a rally in Dearborn, Michigan, and she refused to condemn that.
Did somebody like?
What's your view on that?
Did she not condemn it, or did somebody ask her to condemn it and she refused?
No, she was asked in an interview, "Do you condemn this?" and she wouldn't answer.
Yeah, well, okay, I would condemn it if I was asked to condemn that sort of thing, but I also just don't think that straightforwardly, I think that everybody needs to unclutch their pearls. And if they're I think people chanting "Death to America" at a rally is fucking silly. I don't think any of those people are terrorists.
I was just like I said, I just think that I'm wondering if you think that a United States congresswoman
she should
be able to condemn people saying "Death to America."
Yeah.
Do you think it's a problem that she wouldn't condemn it?
I think that if you consider it a problem, there's this is what happens a lot of time when you bring me something that like somebody on the left has done, Iowa. It's that if you express that sort of concern about rhetoric from somebody like her, you should be as anti-Trump as I am. Which I know you're pretty, like, you don't like Trump. Like, for everybody clarifying, like, you've really moved away from being a Trump supporter. But, like, the rhetoric from the right is that bad and worse every day. So when you bring me these little examples of, like, can you believe this person on the left did that? I'm like, I can be surprised that we're talking about that when people on the right do it constantly. The president calls for people's death. Like, the president celebrates people's deaths. What's up, Jessie?
She's also, I just looked it up, and she's not even the headline of people who stayed silent. So, yeah, it's more than just her. Continue.
Yeah. I think that if that sort of rhetoric upsets you, there's a bigger problem than anything that's happening on the left. If you want to talk about it more, we can maybe do it later in the show, or you can hit me up privately.
Like I said, go ahead and drop it down. You're good.
Appreciate you, Iowa. Yeah, I appreciate that he comes to me with these concerns where it's like, oh, I saw something, I'm going to go ask Oskar about it. But a lot of time the answer is just like, yeah, I don't agree with everything that the people on the left do. If that sort of thing's upsetting to you, you should consider what's happening on the right to be an actual emergency. Linktree in the bio for all the things. We're going to talk to J67 Mustard, who is one of the people yelling, let me up in the chat. How old are you?
18.
I'm going to believe you for now. You support Trump?
I mean, sort of.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I'd say I do.
Okay, why is that?
I don't know, because I just like jerking off them and stuff.
Okay. We're going to talk to Balki Bartokomous. We're going to see if he's somebody worth taking seriously and giving airtime to. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
You said in the chat the host will kick. I did kick the previous guy. How old are you?
Yeah, I heard what he said. And yeah, that was good. Good for doing that. That was...
It's just, you know.
Can't come up. Like, you have people up here that yell the end slur, and it's like a gotcha. But, yeah, that was ridiculous. I hope you hear me in the comments, too.
Didn't see what else you were saying. How old are you?
I'm 32.
You a Trump supporter?
I am.
Okay, why is that?
Because I might not agree with all of his policies are right, but I cannot have Democrats in power.
Why not?
Because I disagree with what they stand for.
What's that?
And wouldn't you agree that you disagree with what conservatives stand for?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Okay, what is it that Democrats stand for that you're so against?
I don't want kids being taught sexuality in public schools, for one.
Whoa, hold on. That's like the best thing we can do to prevent people from raping their peers in college is get them educated a little bit earlier. College rape's a really serious problem. I'm an educator.
That's great.
Yeah, I think that educating kids about those things prevents them from going into their adult years without a good understanding of it. And I think that educational issue is really like what's at the root of a lot of like the date rape scene and a lot of young men who become a problem for their peers. I don't think that's reasonable at all.
Okay, great. So you mentioned college, the date rape scene. So who controls colleges? What, conservatives or liberals? Who?
Well, we're not talking about. No. We're talking about the education that happens before that.
Oh, but you just said in college it happens. Now you're saying, but before that.
Well, I'm saying that it's very difficult to take a rapey 18-year-old and get them to not be rapey anymore. It's much easier to take that person when they're 13, teach them good sex education, and then they don't become so rapey an 18-year-old.
Oh, at 13, but what about 10?
I learned sex ed at about 11, I think I was in 6th grade. I can reflect on it as the adult I am now. I think I had a really good program at my middle school. I think they gave me a really good foundation that made sure that I went into my adolescent, post-pubescent years as somebody who's going to treat women properly. Yeah.
What do you mean, like treating women properly?
They made sure that I understood safety and consent and like how to navigate the difficult discussions that people need to have as they start to become sexually active. Like they made sure I had a good foundation. And
all right, good. I agree with that.
Okay, then why did you call in and say that we shouldn't educate young people about sex?
When you're so, I got to ask you something. Is Trump passing any legislation to push cisgendered sexuality in public schools?
Push cisgendered sexuality in schools?
Yeah, like straight sexuality.
Cis and straight are different things. One has to do with your gender identity, and one has to do with your sexual preference. And I'm not really understanding the question.
I think you might be, but you're trying to avoid it. You know what I'm talking about.
I really am not like trying to avoid anything. If you want to have a nuanced conversation about sex education,
great. Let me
stop interrupting me. It's my show. I'm directing the conversation. If you want to have a nuanced conversation,
kick me now because you're weak. Kick me, dude.
I'm not going to kick you.
Thanks for the clip.
I was about to say I'm not kicking you. I was actually about to say that you're welcome to have the entire 2-hour program today. This is kind of a novel topic, and I think it's really valuable. I'm not running. What would you like?
I think it's novel.
Yeah, compared to what I normally talk about, it's a little bit novel. So I'm not going to kick you. I'm not running.
I got an 18-year-old daughter, all right?
Okay.
And from her age, 13 from 14, she goes, Dad, I don't understand this. I'm in public school. All right, I'm going to English class. The teacher's got a pride flag in the class. She's like, I have no issue with it, but it was like half the subject is talking about
Hold on.
LGBTQ.
I'm sorry. I got to just ask the math problem. You said you're 32.
Yeah, I did.
Did you have a kid when you were 14?
I did. I got essayed by a woman.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm
tracking. An older woman, too.
Okay.
And she went to jail. She got pregnant. Okay. Family took care of the child still. Okay. But yeah, that's terrible. I love my daughter. Mom's still in prison right now.
Okay. Okay. I have my doubts, but we're gonna move on past that. I don't feel like.
But I'm glad she's come to the Bible in prison. That's what it took.
You had a question about Trump's policies supporting cis or straight education. We never really got to the. You said I was running. I don't want to run from it. I'd like to address what it was you were trying to ask me when that came up.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, when Trump goes, like I said, you have your preferences, I have mine. So why should, if I disagree with, I want my daughter to be educated in public school, like the children from China, okay, that come to America, or foreign students, all right, that don't get indoctrinated in sexual ideology. They're going there to get educated in science, mathematics. Science and mathematics is really important. Maybe theology. I agree. Too.
I don't think theology is as important as math or science. What? All right,
I
feel like we're getting away from what I was asking about. You were talking about Trump's policies regarding teaching gender ideology or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's I disagree with. Why should my child be taught that when I'm you should be taught math and science because, America lacks in that.
Nobody's saying that we should teach kids sex education instead of teaching them science. That's silly. I would agree that that's very silly.
I would agree sex education, but not somebody's sexual preferences.
I think learning about people's different sexual preferences is a really important component of a good sex education program.
Oh, okay. So that's where I disagree with. So,
all right. Do you think that being gay is wrong?
That's a person's choice.
Okay. I mean, I don't think it's a choice, but I just think it's a choice how a person chooses to express their sexuality. But some people are gay and some people aren't. I don't have a problem with that.
So would you think that it's fine for cis people to come in and put on hustler porn in front of the kids and go, hey, this is how straight people
I'm gonna let it slide, but I'm gonna risk it. But I'm just gonna say you're not allowed to say that word on TikTok. The one that begins with a P. We have to say corn instead, which is very, very silly. Corn. I know it sucks, but no, I don't think that would be good, and I don't think that it's a fair equivalency because I don't think that anybody who's trying
it is fair because it's sexuality.
Okay, so tell me, are you suggesting that people are putting gay corn on for kids? Because you're talking about people putting on straight corn for kids, and I don't think that either are happening in the classroom.
Well, why is somebody's sexual preference being talked about in public schools?
Straightforwardly, why did you ask me about putting on corn for children when I don't think anybody's doing that?
Well, why do you think it's fine being taught somebody's sexual preference in public schools?
Well, it sounds to me like you're perfectly okay with people learning about straight relationships. I just don't think it's any different for gay relationships. And
I'm not talking about somebody should be taught.
Why did you offered an equivalency, which I have to issue with. You said that would I take issue with somebody showing hustler to kids? Of course I would. I don't think there's any equivalent of that happening from the LGBTQIA plus community or anybody who's trying to educate kids about them.
Do you think it would be fine for little kids go, all right, okay, I'm going to grant this. Do you think that would be fine with pee-pee goes in the vagina and then tell kids go, well, pee-pee go in a poo-poo too?
They did teach me that in 6th grade. That was part of the education I received.
Did they tell you pee-pee can go in poo-poo?
They used more adult terms. They said penis and vagina and anus.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Penis can go in anus.
Yeah, and they taught us that you can't get pregnant that way, but you can still get diseases, so it's still important to use protection. They taught us that stuff, yeah.
That is great that they said that. If you don't use protection, it can lead to disease. So
they taught us that, yeah.
That would be harmful to children, tell them to stick pee-pee and poo-poo, right?
Well, it's more that the system recognizes that some kids are going to put their penises into anuses, and if they are going to do that, it's better to educate them that even though they can't get pregnant that way, they can still get diseases.
Why can't you just tell them sticking pee-pee and poo-poo is wrong?
Because abstinence doesn't really work.
Poo-poo comes out.
I mean, it sounds like you have a bigger problem with anal sex than gay sex, but I don't really think that's your concern.
Wouldn't that be gay sex? Because gay men don't have vaginas, right? So they stick pee-pee and poo-poo, right?
Do women have anuses?
Yeah, but...
Okay. I've had anal sex with a woman. Does that make me gay? Well, what's your argument here, dude?
Do you like sticking pee-pee and poo-poo?
I do.
You do?
What does it matter to you, dude? Why are you asking me about my preferences?
Oh, yeah, that's what I disagree with.
Okay. I mean, I use adult terms So
why should I vote for somebody? Why should I vote for people that agree with sticking pee-pee and poo-poo? All right. and then you stated this, that can lead to STDs.
Well, I mean,
you have to wear a condom when you do it.
But sticking the PP in the JJ also leads to that. So like, I don't really understand your argument.
Yeah, you tell the kids not to have like 35 partners, to have some kind of moral standard.
What's the moral standard here? I don't really think we're talking about anything that like shows ethical concern about anything. Do you think it's unethical to have anal sex?
Yeah, I do, because you said it leads to disease, so you have to must wear a condom, right?
I don't think that makes it unethical, but that's also true of vaginal sex. If you're going to use that reasoning, then you'd have to say that it's also unethical to have vaginal sex. You're not making any sense.
The first thing you said was they do teach about sticking pee-pee and poo-poo, but how to do appropriately because it can lead to disease, right?
How to do it safely, yeah. Safely and
So
make sure you respect consent. Why does it have to
be done safely, sticking pee-pee and a poo-poo? Because maybe it's not biological?
I don't really care what biological is. Like that, the human condition's more complicated than that. We get to choose our own adventure. We respect people's freedom in that way. So we're born with the hardware we have. We could have a conversation about evolutionary biology. I'm sure that'd be very interesting for everybody.
Great.
But do you recognize that people have the right to do with their bodies what they choose, as long as they're not harming anybody?
As long as they don't harm anybody, but if they do cause harm to themselves, it can cause harm to them, family, and others around them.
Okay, but again, if you're going to say that the risk of STDs creates that, that's true of that's true of all different types of it. I'm not following, dude. Like, do you think that all sex is bad because it can lead to STDs? What is this?
No, I don't believe all sex is bad.
Okay, then stop making an argument that would suggest that all sex is bad, because there's a risk of STD transmission with all types of intercourse. So, like, what's your point? What are you trying to argue me? Like, what's the claim? What is this conversation?
So wait a minute. So you're fine with sticking pee-pee and poo-poo. So I would vote against people that are sticking for pee-pee and the poo-poo.
Can you just say anal sex? Like, I feel like I'm talking to a fucking 6-year-old.
Well, I gotta talk to you like a 5-year-old, because I don't think you know what sticking pee-pee and the poo-poo is, right?
I would wager to guess I have more experience with it than you.
Would you stick your pee-pee in anybody's poo-poo or just human poo-poo?
I'm pretty selective about the anuses that I interact with.
Really? So how are you selective? Do you check them out first?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you check them?
Go on a date, maybe.
So you just go on a date? Do you ask them about their poo-poo, where their poo-poo comes from, and if their poo-poo hole's clean?
You know, if
you want to stick your penis in their poo-poo hole?
Actually, yeah. If you're getting to that part of the evening, that might be a conversation that had, like, hey, what's going on in there? You know, you got to talk about that. So you go on a date and you ask a woman, like, how's your poo-poo hole? Because I want to stick my pee-pee in your poo-poo hole. I wouldn't use those words.
But you would infer that. You'd be like, hey,
yeah, dude, if you're gonna get
stick my penis in your bum.
If you're gonna get down and dirty, it's maybe relevant when the last time there was a bowel movement and what variety it was. That's the sort of conversation that adults might be able to have seriously if they're not put off by these things.
Okay, so if the woman said, hey, can I stick my strap on in your poo-poo hole, would you be fine with that?
Maybe. That sounds like it could be fun. Oh, it wants me to remove him for what? Sexually suggestive content.
Why? I'm giving leftist talking points about sticking pee-pee in the poo-poo. What's wrong with that?
Do I remove him or do we let this keep going?
How long does it block if you leave it for a little bit?
While he's on the show.
Give him a few more minutes. Come on.
Oh, no, I don't know. Mods in the chat. Tell me.
They're all calling for his kick.
Yeah. Okay, we'll appease the audience on that one. Get the fuck out of here, you child.
Okay, sticking that pee.
Do you think he's curious?
That is a closeted gay man.
If you enjoy the Oskar Quentin show, you can go to the link tree in the bio and follow me on all the other platforms. If you're sad that I'm not live 24 hours a day, you can listen to me 24 hours a day by going to my YouTube and finding all the VODs, because 2, 3, or 4 hours of this gets uploaded every single day. You can follow me on all the other platforms. That helps support the show for free. It doesn't cost a dime, and if you have a dime you want to spare, you can send it to my Venmo, Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, or Patreon. Buy Me a Coffee is international, and I believe we had a Buy Me a Coffee already. That was Lucky Phil. He's always dependable on there. He says, remember, kids, ejaculate responsibly. He also sent a $2 buy me a coffee to say pee pee poo poo. I think he's just having fun. Can we? Yeah. David sent $5 on Venmo to say we found the oldest 30. We found the oldest 32-year-old on the planet. Very mature, that guy. I think he really demonstrated his maturity during his brief time on my show. Man, what he did do is he got the viewership up nice and early in the show, so I thank him for that. And we got lots to read over on YouTube. Ayo, I upgraded the colors on here. Kronos, member for 1 month, used his monthly to say that. And then Nick became a member as well. Welcome to the team over on YouTube. We're gonna have fun with the members only chat, all that stuff. And then Metal GXDS said for $5, if spreading disease is wrong, then ask him if he's ever been to work while sick. I wonder if that guy wore his mask during COVID. I fucking doubt it. Jazz sent $5 to say this is the most incoherent and juvenile caller. $2. Yeah, maybe that might have been the most juvenile caller. He should have had sex education. He maybe wouldn't have been so juvenile about the subject matter if he'd had a better sex education back in the 1950s or whenever it was he was in elementary school. Horsepower sent $5 to say, unfortunately, this guy has tied his political position to his insecurities and misunderstandings around sex. I agree. I don't know. Maybe he'll call back in and he and I can maybe make some progress on some of his deeply seated sexual insecurities. But got a new flag. I've never actually gotten the sexual like content flag. That's a new one for me. And then Tavi sent $10 or $20 on YouTube super chat to say, we don't discuss fetishes in sex ed, but athlete's foot in the mouth was a common disease in England for reasons we all know and understand. Should that be talked about in sex ed, or do you just not like same-sex couples? Couldn't even really get that guy to focus enough. He just really liked saying pee-pee and poo-poo so much that he couldn't even really focus on any of the more important stuff we were talking about. And that username that's a bunch of letters sent $17 DKK, whatever that is. I think that's like $2 or $3. He's really obsessed with their, you know what? Yeah, I don't know. You're on the wrong website if you're curious about these things. I have some recommendations though. With some recent law changes, they might be blocked in your state, so you might have to get a VPN if you want to go explore your curiosity about pee-pee and poo-poo more. Anyway, Chai said for $2, that dude wanted you as bad as I do. I see you, Chai. And then Kronos sent $50 to say, we having all three workers today, Oskar, Raven, and Jessie. He isn't closeted gay. I think he is gay and has some self hate and he needs to work through. Also, hi Jessie. Hello Jessie.
Hi Kronos.
And Elijah sent $2 with no message at all. Elijah just felt like sending $2. So W for everybody donating, including the people who donated while I was reading the ads, because we had a couple more Venmos here. Cass sent $5 to say butt stuff 2028 because bro needs something new. I don't know, man. Talk to your wife instead of me. Jessie sent $5 to say pee pee poo poo. Yeah.
Not me. Other Jessie.
Other Jessie. Different Jessie. Donor Jessie. There's lots of Jessies in the chat. I think there's even a Jessie on the mod team. Are they still a mod? I don't remember. All right. Back to the multi-guest request queue. We're gonna talk to King E. We're gonna see if he's gonna be the king to my queen. I don't know. Couldn't come up with a good pun. Is he gonna connect or is he in the pocket? Is he gonna be teacup? No, he's here. How old are you?
Hey, how's it going? I'm 28.
Doing all right. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah, man. Reason why I came up, you said you had recommendations. You're pretty personal with whatever you guys were talking about. You have recommendations for that?
For what?
What you were talking about, the pee-pee and the poo-poo.
What do you mean recommendations?
Well, you were. Did you not remember what you said a minute ago? You said you had recommendations. That meant that you were familiar with those type of things, right?
Yes. I'm a promiscuous person who is adventurous and has tried lots of things. Are you calling in for dating advice? Is this the Savage Love cast? Are we gonna do?
That's typical leftist democratic psycho behavior right there.
I'm sorry. He called in and interrogated me about my sexual history. What did I do wrong? Thanks for the gifts, everyone.
You're the one who actually, does those type of things, right?
Do you think it's wrong to have anal sex?
Yeah.
Why is that?
A number of reasons why. Christianity, religion.
Okay, I don't think that I don't believe in Christianity. I'm an atheist, so that one's not going to work on me.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm going to keep having butt sex. I don't think that God is watching. If he is, I don't know.
Butt sex with your boyfriend?
No, I usually have sex with women.
With women, usually, right?
Usually, yeah. Usually.
How many times out of 10? 7, 8?
In my life, I'd say about 9 times out of 10.
Okay, so you have had sex with men?
Yes.
Wow. Figures. Okay.
Okay, while you sit on that for a second, while you let that rock your world, I am gonna thank Metal for the fucking $100 YouTube super chat. Thanks so much, dude. Seriously, that's a fucking huge donation. He says it's always the religious conservatives worried about the LGBTQ plus and pee in the poo-poo, even though Jesus kissed his followers. Yeah, I don't know why this guy's so concerned.
You have a girlfriend currently?
I'm seeing someone.
Okay, does she know that you're gay?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm bi, I guess.
But she knows that, right? Mm-hmm. She knows that you've done those things with men?
I think so. No.
You think so? Wait, hold on. You think so?
It's just not that important to other people, dude.
What are you talking about? That's not important? That's really important to disclose to a significant other.
How many? So,
hey, yeah,
on which date should you interrogate somebody about their sexual history?
Maybe, on a Friday, Saturday night, you guys are hanging out.
No.
And she's like, tell me a little secret about you. I've had sex with men.
Yeah, that's
pretty big.
That's actually realistic. That's a conversation that could happen on a date with me. Somebody could be like, "Oh, really? Tell me about it." I'd be like, "Yeah, every now and then at the bottom of a bottle of whiskey, things get pretty interesting on a Friday night."
Yeah,
why are you
to tell?
Yeah, that's important. I wouldn't date somebody for whom that was a problem, so that it's important that stuff come up.
And again, you said you've usually done it with women. Then I think she knows. You don't know.
Yeah, I'm seeing somebody new. We haven't gotten to know each other. All that. I mean, I'm talking to the public right now. She might be watching.
Oh, so this could be the first time that
It's possible, man.
has heard of this.
I don't know. Sure. I don't care. I'm an open book, man. I don't give a fuck.
Wow.
King, the guy that I've been seeing as of recent is also an openly bisexual man, and I can tell you from the woman's perspective, not a problem.
Yeah. And are you a Democrat?
No, I work Oscar's show oppositionally.
Yeah, she's our MAGA mole.
Again, you guys can't ever take
equal representation around here. We got to make sure we have just as many Trump supporters on staff as Democrats.
Guys, just like Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris could never answer a question seriously. She would always laugh, fake laugh. You remember those times? She would always fake laugh.
I think it's misogynistic. I think it's misogynistic that you point out that she does it, but you don't care when I do it, because I've definitely chuckled on today's show.
Oh yeah, you do. That's the Democrats' part of their act, right? That's how you guys act.
Okay.
And kind of manipulate your audience in order to, hey, donate me some money. That's what all politicians do, right?
I don't know what we're talking about. What is this? What is this? Anal Lube Fund, Linktree in the bio.
Anal Lube Fund. There we go. There's the manipulation right there. Let's go. Dude, all right, man. You have a great day. The silicon stuff is kind of expensive. You have a great day, man.
Dude wants me to have a threesome. He's rooting for me.
Yes.
Keep having sex with men without your woman knowing. That's crazy to me. But have a good one, man.
All right.
Chat, do you feel manipulated right now?
I don't know, man. I feel like today we're not doing politics. I feel like today we're talking about sexual repression. What a day! What a day we're gonna have here on the Oskar Quentin Show. If you think I'm doing good for the world by exposing the sexual insecurities of the weak-minded MAGA fools that call into my show, you can go to the link tree in my bio and follow me on all the other platforms, or send me some money like Megan did. She sent me $1 on Instagram to add to the conversation. Just a reminder to teach small children correct anatomy terms so they can actually accurately describe SA, also W anal. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you don't want to become an adult who's afraid to say the word penis or anus, and you have to say pee-pee and poo-poo. It seems very, very silly. But that wasn't even the previous caller. That was the one before him, because we're just apparently just taking calls about guys who are curious about my sexual history. I'm feeling quite flattered by today's episode. They really care how I spend my bedroom time. Very check his hard drive coded. WMods, WChat. Thank you, Melissa, for the $2 on YouTube super chat. Callers today can't make a woman big. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think if they got some sexual education, maybe the part they should pay attention to is the part that has to do with the sexual acts that they're interested in doing. They're awfully concerned with the ones that they don't seem interested in doing, which is fine. You don't have to have any anal sex if you don't want to. And then Mike sent $1, no message, just to send $1. Thanks for the $1. And Canadian Princess sent $2 to say, why do these weirdos care so much? That's what I'm sitting here wondering, man. They seem awfully interested in how I spend my private time. Oscar, if you are fucking men behind a girl's back, I call dibs. Shut up, Kronos. Thank you for the $5, though. By the way, GXD.
I love you.
Great spelling of gods. So metal gods. Thank you for the $2, metal gods, and for the clarification on your username. All right. Are we going to talk about my rectum with the next caller, or are we going to talk about politics? Are we going to find a way to make the two the same topic? We're going to talk to Jimmy Diamond 502, and we're going to see if we're going to keep the ball rolling with these people being blown away that somebody's secure in their sexuality. How old are you?
Oh, shit. 49.
You're a Trump supporter?
I voted for him.
Are you glad that you voted for him? Are you glad that he won the election?
Well, I choose him over Kamala Harris, definitely.
Do you not know how to pronounce her name, or are you doing it on purpose?
Kamala.
Kamala.
Yeah, Kamala. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. What are we talking about? Why did you vote for Trump? Why do you want him to be president? Come on.
Well, when I voted for him, I didn't want her to be president. Same way I didn't want Hillary Clinton to be. It's not because they're women. It's for different reasons.
Okay, I'm gonna believe you. Tell me those reasons.
Well, Hillary Clinton, she's got a bad reputation. Of course, what she did in Benghazi, she poor job there.
Yeah, sure. How's Trump's reputation?
His reputation is pretty bad even before he was president.
Yeah, he also bombs people overseas that don't deserve to be bombed, right?
Like, what do you mean? Like who?
We bombed a school in Iran, dude. 170 schoolgirls died.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, so we're just scorekeeping. They both bomb people overseas. That's bad.
But he also stopped Gaza from getting bombed. You forget about him forming the peace there between
Trump has openly been discussing removing all of the humans from Gaza and turning it into some sort of resort.
But did he do that? I know that was an idea of his.
He did team up with Israel to attack Iran, which is how that school got bombed by us. So again, you could find a day of the week where he didn't murder any children, but I'm not really interested in those days of the week. And I don't really think it's a good counter argument to say that Hillary Clinton, who you chose not to vote for a decade ago.
Besides her, being known for what did she do with the Clinton Foundation? Basically.
We're talking about why you want Trump to be president in 2026, and you skated right past Kamala Harris.
Well, okay, because you just brought up Hillary, so I was going to bring up how the Clinton Foundation.
I'm pretty sure you're the one who brought up Hillary. My brain working?
Well, two terms, Trump. Why'd you vote for him? Okay, we'll go back to Kamala. She was just a repeat of Biden's. Biden's policies.
She was running as his vice president, so it makes pretty good sense to me that as president, she wanted to do some similar things.
So you think J.D. Vance is going to do the similar things that Trump does?
No.
Or do you think he's... And what about Marco Rubio?
I'm sorry. Your concern is that she was going to run on Biden's policy platforms. I said that makes sense considering they're from the same ticket. That doesn't really answer my question as to why you thought they would be bad.
It does answer the question because that was the change. That was Trump won because of that. No? Why did Trump win the election? It's because of that, right?
I think that, when an election is as close as this one was, because all the swing states were pretty close, they could have flipped the other way with a really small change in public sentiment. We could point at anything that might change Excuse me, I'm answering your question. Do you want me to answer your question or not?
Sure.
I'm going to answer your question. Please let me finish. I think that because the 7 swing states were all really close, any one thing could have shifted public sentiment enough to flip them all the other way and cause the election to have swung the other direction. So there's probably a list of a couple dozen things that could have changed public sentiment dramatically enough to swing the election. And there's things on both sides. I can say that if Kamala Harris had performed better or Biden had dropped out earlier or not run at all, we could point to those things. But I actually think something that's responsible for a much bigger portion of that electorate is misinformation from the right. I think that they've done a really successful job of taking control of mainstream media and non-mainstream media, things like social media and stuff like that, and using the algorithms and the way that they're able to influence those things with money and private relationships with the billionaires that own those companies, in order to affect an outcome in American politics that's favorable to those wealthy people who have that sort of power. I think that's the really big thing that swung the election.
So when Kamala took over when Biden bailed out, how much money did she have already? I mean, she wasn't even there. I mean, immediately brought as the nominee. How much money did she have to spend immediately? Without even her ground game or anything. I mean, immediately, how much money did she get from her donors?
I don't know.
Was it billions?
I don't know.
Okay, and you want to talk about news outlets? Come on, CNN. There's so much more going on in the other news outlets for liberals. What are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. I think that if you look at major news media, including channels like CNN, you'll find that over the last few years, almost every single one of them has been bought up at some high level by somebody who supports Trump.
George Soros, yeah,
and the like, yeah. Peter Thiel, Bezos,
and using and all medias. Either any side, it doesn't matter what side it is, they basically put things in people's heads and fear mongering and dividing and racial, all that stuff. I think
that misinformation is the tool they use to accomplish a lot of those things.
Yeah, so we agree upon that. There's things that we do agree upon together, but and I'm not a far right. There's things that I agree with the Democrats. I definitely believe that we need more social programs, that especially healthcare. I believe that something should have been done. I think that we need a bipartisan. We need bipartisan to work on the healthcare. I think them going back and forth at each other is not helping our country at all. You could agree with me on that too, right?
I'm just losing the relevancy here. I feel like you're just listing some stuff you got big feelings about instead of having an effective conversation with me about anything at all.
What do you mean? I'm answering. You're answering. You're the one that I'm answering about your media. You're bringing up like the right wing controlling the media, which is not true because the left wing is the same thing. It's the same thing. They control the media. They were doing it. But my point, what I was saying, is that. Trump won the election is because and you answer with a bunch of ifs. Let me just make sure I understand what I was saying there. Let's just hypothetically talk about an election between Joey and Billy Bob, and Joey wins the election with 51% of the vote, and the other guy had 49, right? I could come up with 10 things that, if they happened, would have swung the vote by that 2% and flipped it, right? Does that mean that we can pick one of those things and say this is the reason that the election went that way? Or could we just point out that any number of things could have swung it, the 2% necessary to flip it the other way? I think that you're saying ifs, and ifs is not the answer.
I don't think you listened to a word I just said. I'm trying to check if you understand what my perspective on the 2024 election and the results in the swing states is, and I don't think you do understand my perspective, and you're sitting here trying to address it, and I don't think you should try to address it until you understand what I'm saying.
So what do you mean? Why don't you break it into detail what I don't understand?
I think that if an election is close, which the elections in all of the swing states were close, and they are all related to each other, where if Trump had done better or worse in one swing state, we could have expected, because everybody's watching the same news, to see similar results in the other swing states. I'm saying there's a lot of different things that could have swung them the other way. It's not really sensible to look at a close election like that and say this one thing is the reason why it didn't go the other way, when there's many things that could swing the vote just like, a couple percentage. If Kamala Harris had shot a puppy in the face on national television, she probably would have done worse, right? She didn't. If Donald Trump had shot a puppy in the face on national television, he might have done a little bit worse, and that might have caused him to lose. He didn't do that. But I'm not going to sit here and say that the reason that he won is because he didn't shoot a puppy in the face. We can invent any number of things that could have happened that would have swung the election a little bit and caused a different person to win. So when people say, what is the singular reason that this election was lost? It's just not a very meaningful question to me. That's my answer.
Okay, so Trump didn't have anything going against him, like being called a pedophile.
That's not what I said.
No, this is what I'm saying.
Okay, that's not in conflict with what I said. He did have that going against him.
Why wasn't that effective enough for him not to win the election?
Because enough people were convinced that it was some kind of hoax and that he's actually innocent. Because of the misinformation. People. Yeah, enough people.
Enough people. You mean like...
Democratic elections are about getting enough people to vote for... Yes, that's enough people.
Several millions. That's not peanuts. It's several millions.
Yep.
And you'd say 51%, 49%. That's several millions, right?
Yep.
Just like when Biden won, he had the most votes ever in history, right? Trump having the second most.
By several millions.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to go by percentage, you want to go by numbers.
I'm not understanding your why you're bringing up that
because
percentage.
You say 51-49, but why don't you just say the number of votes, which is millions?
I could have, and it wouldn't have changed my argument.
Well, you're making it by 51-49 very close.
We could
but when you break it down
there's
to
about
millions,
about 150 million people vote. So instead of saying 50-49, we could say something like 75 versus 77 million or whatever it was. It doesn't make it different. I'm capable of understanding that these are the same things because I'm good at math. So what's your point?
So no, what is your question as far as, I mean, how did this even get to this point?
If you recall earlier, you wanted to know why I think that Trump won, and I pointed out that I don't really like the question because it's hard to pin down one individual reason why somebody won an election when any number of events transpiring differently could push the election over the edge in the other direction. It's silly to say that it was one thing that caused it. Because here, if we have 100 people in a room and 51 of them vote for you and 49 of them would vote for me, I could come up with any situation where 2 more people were convinced that they should vote for me. I could bribe 2 of them. I could make a policy that's going to really help 2 of them who are different. I could come up with any list of ways that I could get those 2 more votes. And all of those are things that we could point to saying that because I didn't do them, I didn't win the election. So I'm just saying, so when you ask the question, why did you get 51? Why did I get 49? There's 49 different answers to that because there's 49 people who voted for me or the other way around. It doesn't matter. You get what I'm saying? Like, it just isn't, like, what do you mean the one reason? What do you mean the cause?
All right, so obviously you don't know the exact reasons why he won over Kamala.
I would wager that I have a more comprehensive understanding of the set of reasons that he won than anybody who's ever called into my show has.
Well, why don't you list them then? Because you haven't listed one. You're only saying, I don't know, it could be a bunch.
I did. I actually said that there's a particular umbrella under which a lot of them fit, and I did mention that one because I think it's the biggest and most obvious one that accounts for the biggest change. What was that? Were you listening?
Well, actually, I said something that he was following the same policies of Biden, which obviously
you doubted that I could list things, and then I pointed out that I listed a big one and said that a bunch of smaller things fit under that one. What was that one? Are you listening? Are you paying attention?
What I said,
what you said.
Is that what we're fighting about?
I'm just checking if you're listening to the conversation that you were having right now. I gave an enormous reason that I think is the biggest, most important thing to focus on, and that's what you're asking me for. So I just want to check again. Were you listening earlier when I said what the biggest reason I think is?
I didn't really catch an answer from you, really.
We had a brief conversation. You doubted it. You offered some counterclaims. I counterclaimed back. We had probably a 30 or 60 second conversation about that big reason. You don't remember what it was?
No, it was kind of like you were trying to really avoid what the answer was. I'm thinking
I would take your assessment of what I was saying seriously if you remembered what I said, but you don't. So why should I take your assessment of what I said seriously if you don't remember what it was?
Well, do you remember what I said?
No, I asked a new question. Why should I take your assessment of what I said seriously if you weren't listening and you don't remember what it was? That's a question
because
I want an answer.
I don't feel like you gave me a direct answer. I think you were swerving away.
How can I trust that you assessed whether or not my answer was direct if you didn't listen to it and you don't remember it?
Because to me, it was kind of like you really didn't give me an answer.
Okay,
to be honest with you.
Let's assess whether or not what I said was an answer. What did I say?
Exactly my point. I don't know. You were kind of like jibber jabbering.
You engaged with it. You responded to it. You doubted it. You said some other things, and then we talked about it a little bit. So it suggests to me that you were actually listening. You just don't actually care about encompassing more than like 30-second sound bites of this conversation at a time.
You haven't even elaborated my point about Joe Biden's failed policies. What I brought to you.
Yeah, that's a pivot away from the primary reason that I think that Trump won in 2024. We can give up the bid. You want me to tell you what the reason was?
Sure, go ahead.
It was because the right has controlled media, both mainstream and otherwise, in such a way that misinformation has convinced a lot of people that voting for Trump was a reasonable thing to do. Yeah, but what do you mean you moved past that? You just decided you didn't like talking about it with me? You've moved past it? What does that mean?
Because it's a stalemate. Because as you forgot what I said is both sides do the same thing.
No, but you're wrong about that. You mentioned CNN, and CNN is also owned at the top by Republicans.
That was one example.
Okay.
I could have listed so much more.
Okay,
I just gave you one example.
Let's do another one. What's it?
CNBC?
So in addition to the fact that most of these major media conglomerates are owned at the top by people who support Trump, there's also this really problematic thing happening, which is that Trump has appointed the chair of the FCC, who he has been using to threaten broadcasters who broadcast and platform people who disagree with him in serious ways. That's what we've seen happen with Jimmy Kimmel. Even though the people who immediately surround Jimmy Kimmel do want him platformed, Trump is leveraging his authority as president in violation of the First Amendment, I would point out, to threaten such people. So again, the right controls the media. Yeah. So again, you can list any major television network, and they're either owned by Republicans or subject to broadcast rules that Donald Trump decides by appointing the person who controls the FCC.
I actually saw Walsh when he was being asked questions by all the people in the room, and it was mostly about about a million times he was asked if he's given up his wealth. Which
I'm sorry. I think that's a pivot, and I'm just going to give you a moment to think of some more examples, some counter examples to this issue about misinformation.
Well, let's get back to the point.
I think that's the point. This issue of misinformation. I'm just going to give you a little longer to try to think of something useful and relevant to say in this conversation while I read out some donations from some people who are supporting the show. Because oh my goodness, a bunch came in on Venmo. What the actual fuck? David, thank you for the $10. David sent $10 to say today's live is Woke Mind Virus Super Spreader event. It seems, yeah, that's fun. Made my producer laugh. Oh God, where are we? Jack sent $2 to say Christians and homophobes, we don't have your guilt and self-hate. Fuck off. I co-sign that one. Seriously. Why are they so concerned about the sex I'm having instead of the sex they're having? Arabella sent $2 to say I've been brainwashed into donating, and then like the squiggly eyes emoji. Ah, yes, hypnotized to go to the link tree in the bio and support the show because you like the show. Thank you very much, Arabella. I appreciate you. Michelle sent $2 to say, if I can get the dang thing to load. Oh my goodness. Struggling with all these donations. The last callers demonstrates why women in socialist countries, liberal women and women on the left, are able to achieve more orgasms. MAGA and reps are prude and scared to experiment despite definitely being made to. The closet is made of glass when it should be made of mirrors. Preach. Thank you for that, Michelle. And then Art by Al sent 69 cents to say rectum dang near killed him. I'm sorry. I just had to. Appreciate you, Al. Man, we're going to make the caller uncomfortable. Maybe. We'll see. Danielle sent $3 to say W Team, W Pride. Yeah, seriously. These people, all they had to do the whole time was ask me if I've had gay sex before, and I'd be like, sure. Giving it a try. It's not my favorite. Hope sent $20 to say, I've listened to Dean and Parker for a while, and you have very quickly become my new favorite. Thanks for your openness, patience, and knowledge. You're an amazing guy. Thank you very much. I appreciate the $20. That goes a long way for keeping the show running. And Jenna sent $5 to say, please make these fools say Harris, not Kamala. It's misogynistic to use her first name, but not the last name of Trump. Yeah, I agree. I kind of pick my battles on whether or not it's like worth derailing the conversation to say Kamala or whatever I need to chant at them to get them to do it right. David sent $5 to say Jimmy is a kiddie pool debater. He can't handle a debate once it gets deeper. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see if he tries to do a little bit better after we get back here. Nicholas sent $5 to say my dog is named Suki. Oh, cool. My cat's named Suki. Where is she? Is she in shot? No, I don't know where she is. She's around here somewhere. And then over on YouTube Super Chats, Seikyo sent $5 to say, I think I need a shower after people's weird obsession with what they do in private. Outside of that, all my love, sweetheart. Thank you. Elusive Viper sent $5 to say 500 fully clothed pennies from the peeps on Discord. Thank you, Elusive Viper. And the Discord, Discord link in the link tree in the bio. And CDAW sent, just become a YouTube member. Welcome to the team. And then Horsepower sent $5 to say, this caller can't make an argument. He can only try to rhetorically suggest things. I think that's accurate. Anacaniac sent $5 to say, not able to watch the lives recently, but still want to support and take my money, sir. And then Metalizer sent $2 to say, keep up the great work, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the donations from everybody, and I appreciate that people so consider my show worth supporting that they go to the link tree in the bio and they do that. Lucky Phil did that. He said, Quentin, Sedgwick, and Withers, why are your names so hoity-toity? Yeah, Quentin, Sedgwick, and Withers. We all sound like old newscasters. Maybe we'll be the new newscasters. Producer has a note for me, which is that Kamala used her first name in her own messaging, so Raven argues it's not inherently misogynistic. Fair. It doesn't reek to me as misogynistic to use the first name, because some people who call me Quentin, like I'll see YouTube comments where like Quentin likes to use this argument, and to me it's like weird. It's like, oh, Quentin, like I guess that's my name. I'm just so used to being Oscar. But even when I was teaching, I used Mr. Oscar with the students just because it was my preference. Anyway, Jimmy, what are we talking about?
I don't know. You kind of like went off reading your biased fans.
I would say that my fans are biased. I don't think that's relevant to the conversation. The conversation we were having is about the fact that the right has leveraged wealth to control our politics through spreading misinformation, and we were covering some domains in which I think that that's the case, and you were saying that the left does it equally, which I don't think is fair to say at all.
So you're saying the left doesn't own news outlets, is what you're saying?
There are
social media, or like, for instance, like
disproportionately. The problem is it's disproportionately owned by people on the right, and people on the right are leveraging that ownership and control to push right-leaning ideas. There's actually been studies, if you want to talk about social media, there's been studies about how right-leaning media is promoted better by algorithms on platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, that sort of thing.
So Trump wasn't banned from Facebook by Zuckerberg? Are you saying that?
I'm sorry. Did I say anything about Trump getting banned in Facebook and Zuckerberg?
Well, social media. What you're saying, social media.
Do you think that if Trump misbehaved in such a serious way on a social media platform that you owned, you might have to ban him because it's such an obvious violation of TOS, but you could still in the background support him by gaming your algorithms to promote content that supports him? I don't think the two are mutually exclusive.
So you're saying that he didn't get banned? That's what you're saying.
I'm not aware, and I don't care.
Oh, so you're not aware, so you don't know. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You know something that I don't. Please respond to the things I've said.
Well, he did get banned.
Congratulations. Do you think that it's possible that he had to get banned for some reason that was obvious to do with his violation of TOS that would be bad PR if they didn't ban him, but at the same time they could still use their very far-reaching algorithm that influences a lot of people's perception of the news through the time they spend scrolling on Facebook? Do you think that Mark Zuckerberg could still control politics through that even though he had to ban Trump? That's a yes or no question.
Do I think so?
Do you think that Trump could be banned on Facebook, and at the same time, the algorithm on Facebook could be used to promote right-leaning ideologies?
I would think that it would have to be some other group, right-wing group, or people that are on the right promoting it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's an answer to my question. I'd also like to point out, if we're just bringing up miscellaneous information about Mark Zuckerberg and Trump, Mark Zuckerberg did attend Donald Trump's inauguration. He's attended multiple dinners with him. And there was actually
once he knew he was going to be president. Yeah.
What?
Once he knew he was going to be president, yeah.
Right, because Mark Zuckerberg doesn't actually care about his friendship with Donald Trump. He cares about how powerful Trump is. So once Trump became president, it became very important for Mark Zuckerberg to attend dinners with him and make deals with him and that sort of thing. I think you're arguing in favor of my point at the moment.
No, because it was the different timeline, if you don't recall. It was a different timeline.
I'm only familiar with one timeline.
Okay, so then we shouldn't be talking about it no more if you're unfamiliar with that part of the timeline. The timeline when he actually became president, actually when they all knew that he was winning the election, is when they started to make arrangements to be a part of his winning and his party, right?
I think if you look earlier than that, Mark Zuckerberg contributed materially to Trump's campaign.
Yeah, when he was winning and they knew that he was going to win.
No,
yeah.
I don't think that that's accurate. I think if you want to talk about the timeline of events, Mark Zuckerberg made financial contributions, and as I've been saying this entire conversation, leveraged the platform that he's the CEO of, Meta Platforms, which includes both Instagram and Facebook, by the way, and Threads and all the other adjacent software platforms.
I know what Meta is. I know it's like 650.
Great. I'm just giving a little background. Maybe the audience isn't always aware, so I just want to make sure that people know what we're talking about: Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, as well as some other.
Yeah, it's about 650. In case you biased people don't know, it's about 650 in Nasdaq. Just in case you guys don't know.
Okay,
but go on.
Yeah,
where are we at now? Now that we passed all this media, we
haven't passed all of it. You haven't answered to it sufficiently at all. You brought up we're on Facebook and Meta Platforms and Mark Zuckerberg right now, and I think it's clear that Mark Zuckerberg has leveraged his power to support Donald Trump becoming president and to continue to support him now that he is president. You say it's not going anywhere, but I don't think that's accurate.
So you think this is going somewhere, our conversation? You think it's actually going somewhere?
No, I don't think our conversation is going anywhere. No.
I think it's a stalemate. If you don't know the full timeline, you really can't answer the question. I think it's a stalemate.
I'm sorry. Have you asked me any questions that I've had a difficult time answering?
you didn't know about the original banning Trump off.
Yeah, but because I'm not a coward, that wasn't a difficult question to answer. I answered it directly. I said I wasn't aware of that.
So it's not about you being a coward. It's about us not being able to debate about that anymore, and should move on to another part of Trump, whatever question you want to ask.
No, I don't think that that's fair. I think I took in the information that he'd been banned. I've decided to believe you for the sake of the conversation, because I don't think the fact that Trump was banned on Facebook is all that relevant to my concerns about what Facebook has done regarding his campaign and his time as president. And I don't think that you've adequately responded to my response to the fact that you told me that he got banned. I think I demonstrated pretty thoroughly that it's not of great consequence that his account was banned, when the actual behavior that I'm concerned about is the way that Meta Platforms pushes right-leaning content in the algorithm.
You see, I'm looking at this, and there's a bunch of chicken. You want to talk about chicken shits? There's a bunch of biased people in the comments. There are a bunch of chicken shits writing shit.
Eyes up here, buddy. You're talking to me.
What's that? Trump's account was banned after J6. Well, let's see what they say. I mean, if you don't know, maybe they know, right?
Okay. Sounds like that continues to be compatible with my argument.
Blah, blah, blah.
Stop reading the chat. Why are you reading the chat? I will kick you if you refuse to engage with me and continue reading the chat. Talk to me.
All right, what's the question?
The question is, why do you think it is so important that Trump was banned on Facebook in light of everything else that I've said in the last few minutes? Have you been listening?
Well, I believe, my personal opinion, I believe that once they realized that Trump was going to win in that election, I already
responded to that. I said that before it was obvious that Trump was going to win the election, Mark Zuckerberg was contributing financially and participating in like PR events, meetings, dinners, that sort of thing with Trump. So I think that's wrong.
You think it's wrong, I think it's right. So
you're asserting that in the timeline, this support from Zuckerberg only happened when Trump became president, or it became obvious that he was going to become president. I don't think that's reasonable at all, especially in consideration of the fact that if we look at the pollsters, it didn't become obvious that Trump was going to become president until election day. It was a toss-up until then. So no.
Pollsters have been wrong the whole time. They've been wrong for like the last couple of years, the pollsters.
Yeah, the pollsters have been less and less accurate lately due to the fact that American politics... So
why would you bring them up if they're always inaccurate?
Because of their inaccuracy, people weren't sure who was going to win until election day, which is why I brought them up. Which demonstrates to me
the rich people knew.
Nope. If Mark Zuckerberg knew that, then he must have known earlier than us that Trump was going to become president, because he offered his support much earlier than election day.
Absolutely, and that's
right,
what I'm saying.
Right. So once again, what is it you're trying to argue?
What do you mean?
What is it we disagree about, Mark? About Mark Zuckerberg's support for Donald Trump?
What we were talking about. You brought up social media that it's mostly right winged, and I'm saying no. Zuckerberg actually ban Trump, showing that it's not that.
Okay, if you actually want to spend a little bit more time talking about that, we can talk about it.
I wanted to move on, but you're the one that wants to stay.
I don't move on my show, especially when the guest is floundering as hard on a topic that they themselves insisted they were knowledgeable about. So we're going to keep talking about the fact that that was kind of weird, but we're going to go back to...
you staying there made it even more weirder.
I think it was pretty I think it was an entertaining conversation. It was weird. I think it was reasonably productive, actually, to see the degree to which men are so repressed on the right and take issue with somebody like me who's more sexually open. But that's not really what you and I are talking about. It's a pivot away from what we're talking about. You keep bringing up that Facebook banned Trump like 6 years ago. I'm sorry. What
character?
Okay, fine. Let's move on to my character. What's so wrong with my character?
I'm bringing up. That's how you are with your character. You basically explaining that the whole time these guys are messing with you, talking about your sexual preference, which has nothing to do with with what's going on here, and you're basically.
I would actually argue that like people's sexual preferences and the way that people engage with them is a pretty relevant topic on this show. It comes up a lot. It's
nothing to do with MAGA is weak, and maybe you're trying to show.
What's the name of the show? You're on a show right now. What's the name of the show?
I have no clue. I just joined in.
Welcome. This is the Oskar Quentin Show. I'm Oskar Quentin. We talk about the things that me, as supreme overlord of the show, I decide the topics. And if we're going to talk about my sexuality, that's allowed. What's your point?
It makes no sense, because because that is not what you do, and you actually were laughing. You thought
that is not what I do. What is that in that sentence?
It's not what you talk about. That's not what you.
What does the word "that" represent in that sentence? I'm not following you.
How you perform your show.
Oh, that's self-evidently wrong. I have debated those subjects on this particular episode of the Oskar Quentin Show.
What, talking about your personal life like that?
Mm-hmm. Talk about my personal life a lot. A lot of people ask me questions about myself. They try to attack my character. They try to say that I don't put my money where my mouth is. They try to say I'm not doing anything about ICE. They try to say I'm not a good activist. People attack me all the time on the show, and oftentimes I'm kind of an open book about it. I let people try to get in and like demonstrate that I'm like not honest or something like that. And I think it's a part of the way I run the show that I allow that, because I'm not afraid of people talking about my character. I really have nothing to hide in terms of the way I behave in my private life or all that stuff. You know, I have like privacy. Like there's certain personal information I'm not going to give up. We were talking about a girl I'm seeing. I'm not going to tell you her name. You know, I'm okay talking about like dating generally as a topic. What's the issue? It's my show.
Okay, let's move on.
To what?
You always come with a question when someone gets on. So I mean, if there's anything you want to elaborate on about why I chose Trump or whatever, you know.
Oh yeah, I still want to know why you think it's so relevant that Trump got banned a few years ago, especially in consideration of the fact that large companies, Target's another example I bring up, they're really guilty of this, where it used to be much more popular to be anti-right wing, which is why Target pushed such aggressive like DEI policies and like a general like attitude towards supporting DEI and LGBTQ community plus like that sort of stuff. But now that the Republicans are winning, you were right about this, that because it's become more popular, because it's become the thing that's better, they've abandoned a lot of those things. So Mark Zuckerberg, long before it was obvious and certain that Trump was going to become president, started supporting him in the ways that I described. That was years after he had what, according to the chat, was just a suspension on Facebook, which might have been automatic. It's entirely possible Mark Zuckerberg had nothing to do with that. But his behavior in recent years, pursuant to his current term as president, backs up everything that I've said about the media's control of disinformation leading up to that election, and you haven't really responded to any of it. So that's why I'm not really interested in moving on, because it seems to me like the reason that you want to move on, because you know that I've completely trounced your position on this in a way that you're ill-equipped to respond to.
That's absolutely inaccurate. I do not believe that. I mean, you could like say like
when you say a sentence like that you do not believe that. What does that represent in that sentence? What is it that you said?
What you just said. I mean,
okay,
am I talking a different language?
You're just so confidently asserting that you don't believe that, but it's not clear to me as the listener.
Excuse me, you understand.
I think if it's unclear to me what that represents in that sentence, it's probably unclear to the audience what that represents in that sentence. So when you say that you don't believe that, what does that represent?
What you just said is
what did I just say? Show that you're listening. Show that you're tracking.
Well, you say like 100 different words going around just to say one thing. But yeah, you brought up DEI. Yeah, there was a diversity, equity, and inclusive, whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
if you didn't understand what I said, that's okay. But you're telling that you don't agree with it, but then you're not able to tell me what it is you don't agree with. Why are you asserting that you don't agree with something that you don't understand?
You brought up. Why'd you bring up DEI?
Because we were talking about the fact that Mark Zuckerberg, or like Facebook as a platform, had suspended or banned Trump like years ago after J6, and I said that there's been a trend where these large companies have realized that they don't have to be left-leaning to stay popular. A lot of them have kind of switched teams. So I'm not really I brought that up as an example of saying why I'm not really interested in hearing what one of these people, Mark Zuckerberg, or one of these big companies like Meta Platforms that he owns, did a thing 5 or 6 years ago. That's not as interesting to me as the stuff that happened leading up to and during his campaign for his current term as president. That's much more interesting to me, and you're not really demonstrating that you have so good an understanding of all that as you claim to.
Well, I mean, you bring up his campaign and stuff. I mean, hasn't the guy did enough groundwork? How much fucking groundwork has he done?
What's the relevance of that question?
The effort he put in. The effort he put in, going to so many places to spread his word, to get people to vote for him.
Okay.
Basically, right?
Yeah. Presidents go to places, they do rallies, they do speeches. That's the sort of
thing. Do they really? Did Hillary do that?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Because she didn't even do anywhere near. She was actually a lot of times only doing a few and then staying home. Then
do you have data about that?
I remember. I was watching. Are you kidding me?
You remember? Did you? So 10 years ago,
2016. Why don't you look up?
Did you count how many rallies?
How many campaigns she went to compared to the amount of Trump did in 2016? I can guarantee you, Trump more than doubled what she did.
That might be. I mean, that could be the case. But here, you can either bring me a source that says that, or we can just assume for the sake of conversation that you're right, that Trump did more rallies than Hillary Clinton. What's the relevance of that? Why are we talking about Hillary Clinton? We were talking about Kamala Harris. We were talking about his current term.
You brought up the campaign, didn't you? Didn't you just bring?
Yeah, the current campaign, not the one against Hillary Clinton, who's retired from American politics.
Okay, what did you bring up about his campaign?
I brought up lots about his campaign. We're mostly talking about how he's leveraged misinformation through mainstream media and social media in order to win, and you just seem to be really not interested in engaging with that. I'd also like to point out that if Donald Trump had twice as many campaign rallies as somebody, I would suggest that the number of people who attended might still be smaller because he can't really pull a crowd. But
he won the election, so you could say that all you want, but he won the election. Mm-hmm. And that's something you can't deny, and no matter what you say about because
we're having a conversation about the reason we're having a conversation about the reason that he won, which I think is like the biggest thing that accounts for most of the change that could have happened with the electorate is misinformation from the right through mainstream media and social media, because powerful, wealthy people who support Trump have influence over what information gets pushed on those platforms. That's what the conversation is about. I don't think you've actually said anything substantive about that particular concern.
Well, you wouldn't admit it if I did.
I admit it all the time when people say sensible stuff on my show. All you have to do is say something sensible, and I'll say, gee, that's sensible. I'm glad we agree on that. What good common ground. What a good foundation for the rest of this conversation.
That's it right there. I'm glad we agree on it. So you have to agree on it for it to be...
I didn't say that. I mean, yeah, if I...
You didn't? I thought I just heard that.
I didn't say that about anything in particular you said, but I said that I'm perfectly willing to admit that I agree with something or think it's sensible for the guest to say something. But yeah, for me I do have to agree that it's sensible to call it sensible.
I mean, you still got your biased audience, writing stuff. I'm not looking at it though.
Yes, you are. Eyes up here, buddy. I'm distracted too. I have an adorable kitty who wants my attention, but I'm capable of multitasking. So I'm allowed to pet my cat while I talk to you, but you're not allowed to look at the chat while you talk to me because clearly it's interfering with the conversation.
I mean, you were the one who took the what was it, a 2-minute break reading what they were saying.
Yeah, those people pay my bills. I gotta pay the sponsors what they paid for. They wanted a little attention. They want their message read. Yeah.
But you also added in what they were saying about me on. So that got my attention.
Okay.
So you actually are complaining about something that you led me into doing. I know you were.
But I'm reading the donations, and you got to listen to those. And sometimes they say unfavorable things about the guests, but you don't have to spend this part of the conversation where you have my full attention looking at the chat instead of looking deeply into my eyes and listening to the words that I say.
Well, you actually pointed me the direction. You say, here, look at here, why I read this. And then you were right. Yeah, you were saying what people donated to you and stuff. But then you also brought up...
Is that happening right now? What are we talking about? Like, what is this?
I'm just saying you pointed me to where you're complaining what I'm looking at. You originally pointed it to me.
Okay.
So see how you can easily forget about how you started something?
No, I think I'm tracking the conversation way better than you.
You think so? I mean, you do this for a living, and I don't even do this, and I think I'm doing pretty good with you right now. And I don't even have to say the gay shit because, that to me, I'd rather just talk about,
You keep bringing it up, though.
No, I'm bringing it up because the fact that the last two idiots that actually did that are fucking idiots.
But here we are talking about the gay shit again. You brought it up. It seems to be ever present on your mind. Perhaps this is the third call of the day where we talk about your sexual repression.
Here you are trying to do that.
I was trying to stay on Elon. I was trying to stay on Mark Zuckerberg and the banning and all that.
I wasn't fucking you like the other two people. Get the hell out of here with that bullshit, man. Come on. Now let's get to the fucking for the fourth time I have to say this. Let's move on to something else about Trump.
Okay.
Thank you. Jesus.
What's the new one? Where are we going? What are we doing?
You're the host, buddy. Right?
No. Okay. Then if I'm the host, then I would like for you to respond when I said that it's not all that relevant that Mark Zuckerberg or Meta Platforms banned or suspended Trump years ago.
Oscar.
You didn't respond to all that. So if you want me to pick the direction, we are going to keep going back to that.
Because you can't move on, Oscar.
Well, we can move on if you just pick something else other than all this gay shit, apparently, or like whatever. I don't know, man.
Hey, now you just brought it up, buddy.
Okay. I'm allowed to.
I can do that too.
It's my show. I don't know, dude. Maybe I want to talk about gay sex. Maybe
I guess you do, because I can do that too, Oscar.
I don't know. It seems to be good for the views at least.
I hope. I'm happy.
Dom disagrees. Dom says this isn't fun to listen to. Maybe pick a topic, buddy.
Here comes. Yeah. Somebody else pick up the topic. And maybe your co-host could bring up the topic.
Have you ever gone to therapy?
Me?
Yeah, have you ever been to seen a therapist?
No, I'm fine.
Oh. I think that even people who are fine could really benefit from therapy. I think that like therapy is like a tool in the toolbox for a lot of people, and if you're doing fine, that means that like going to see a therapist could get you to understand yourself even like a little bit better. Like I think.
Are you saying that I'm mentally ill?
No.
So why would I need to go to a therapist for?
Because I think that I was just explaining. I don't think that therapists are just for people who are mentally ill. I think everybody stands to benefit from a little therapy. Most people, I would say.
So, I mean, what in particular would you say that I need to go for? Like,
I didn't say that you need to go. I think I just suggested that you could benefit, and I was curious if you were aware of the sort of benefit that therapy can
what benefits can they provide?
Well, I just said if you understand yourself a little bit better, it makes it a little bit easier to be introspective about the way that you engage with the world, the way that you navigate conversations, the way that you navigate relationships, the way that you follow your aspirations and hopes and dreams. Like, I think that all of us, I don't think there's any perfect score for that. I don't think anybody gets 100 out of 100 on that. So if you get like a 91, that's pretty good. But if a therapist can get you to a 93, that's the sort of resource you should be interested in.
Well, that's why I entered into this, because I thought that it could help me, gain some intelligence, because like you said, not everybody's 100. So I that's why I go in here and talk and,
No, I don't think intelligence is what you struggle with. I think that if I were to assess the conversation and say that there's something that you struggle with, it's a lack of introspection. I don't think that you understand yourself well enough to navigate these conversations in a mature way, and I think a therapist could help you with that.
But we were talking about not being 100%, so...
Well, I might have been a little bit generous when I suggested that you scored well on that. I was just kind of trying to make the point that wherever you score, you could maybe get some benefit from understanding yourself a little bit better, and therapists can help with that.
As well as you too, right? Because as you just said,
absolutely.
Okay, yeah, we have an agreement. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen lots of different therapists. And, there's the thing about therapists where people see one and it won't work out for them. And it's really hard to find a good therapist, especially if you're somebody who's a little averse to therapy. So I always try to tell people, if you get looking for a therapist, it's so completely okay to just say that you don't like your therapist and try a new one. And a lot of people who haven't really gone through that, like running the gauntlet of like trying to find somebody who's really effective at helping them to understand themselves better, are just really averse to it. And I find that to be disappointing. I think we could all stand to understand ourselves a little bit better. I think a lot of my callers could. It's a problem we run into on the show. Or if you had a better grip on some of those things, the conversation would flow better, be easier to follow, less combative.
Well, I mean, basically this is a left versus right platform anyway.
Well, and at this particular moment, I don't really think it's left versus right. I think it's you versus yourself, which is why I'm suggesting you see a therapist.
That's funny. Me versus myself. That's excellent. I see how you're trying to spin this. That's pretty funny.
No, so I'm being very open about how I'm navigating this conversation. I'm not like hiding the tactic from you. I think you need. I just think it's
so you're the guru.
I'm not. I'm just me. I'm Oskar Quentin, and I think that
Oskar Quentin, the guru.
I don't really like the label of guru. I just think that in my personal opinion, which you can weigh as much as you want, I'm just some asshole on the internet.
Maybe you should see a therapist if you don't like the way guru sounds on you.
I don't mind it. It's just not the word I would use.
Well, maybe a therapist will help you, sink it in a little better.
If I was to spend some more time with a therapist, I don't think I would talk about that. There are other things that are more important to me, but I think that...
like what?
It's a good question. I think that my perspective
I'm getting a little smarter, huh?
Sorry, what?
I'm getting a little smarter.
You're getting smarter?
I'm getting a little smarter now?
No.
Okay, so go on.
What was the purpose of that question?
No, I just I like to
I don't currently see a therapist.
Do you remember what you were saying?
I don't currently see a therapist, but I think if I started seeing a therapist again, it would probably be a little bit of like, when you see a therapist, the first session is kind of just them getting to know you. They learn about how many siblings you have, or like what kind of childhood you had. I would tell them about like, my abusive father, and like maybe what my like educational experience was, and all these different jobs I've had. It would take a long time to even get to what's happened to me this year. And what's happened to me this year is kind of unusual. This thing I'm going through with like getting popular on this platform and really feeling like I have a voice in this sphere of influence in this debate scene that I really care about, because I really care about what's going on in the country. It's very heavy. It's like I feel like I'm bearing a lot of responsibility that's new for me. Like I would probably talk about that sort of stuff with a therapist.
So basically your fear of success, basically what you're saying.
I'm not afraid of it. It's just a lot.
Too much pressure, and it seems like that's a fear.
No, I'm not afraid of it. It's just a lot. I have to navigate it carefully. And that's the sort of thing that I would talk about with a therapist. What things should I value? How should I give this attention versus that attention? I'm not afraid of that problem. I'm very, very excited about that problem. And it's because I'm so excited about wielding the responsibility that I have with somebody who now has as loud a voice as I do. Like that urges me to really handle it with responsibility. That's the sort of thing I would talk about with a therapist. I'm not afraid at all, though. I'm really excited that this is happening to me.
Would you be afraid that if you felt like there's a possibility that it can be, excuse my language, I'll talk to my therapist about it. If you fuck up your possible success, like at any time there could be, it could be taken away from you.
Sure. Yeah, that's the sort of thing I have to consider.
That's what I'm saying. Do you fear that?
No.
Okay, good.
I weigh the possibility. Like, one thing I think a lot about is that, like, I've gotten to a point now where, like, if TikTok banned me, my platform would survive because I get enough views elsewhere that, there was a long time where TikTok had the power to basically just delete me off the internet. And that's not really the case anymore. I'm popular enough on other platforms that I could still do the show tomorrow if TikTok banned me on all my accounts. So, like, I'm less worried about that now. So I wouldn't worry about that so much with a therapist. There's other, like, more weighty things about what's going on with me that I would cover. I think because I have such a good grasp of those things is why I'm not particularly compelled to see a therapist right now. Though maybe I should, because it is quite a lot I'm going through. Anyway, I just think that if you saw a therapist, it would probably be helpful in you maybe like looking back on a conversation like the one that you've had with me today and maybe realize that a lot of the combativeness doesn't come from me or doesn't really come from the subject matter we're discussing. I think it comes from within you. But I'm not a professional. I think you should talk to a professional about that.
So if you're not a professional, why would you pinpoint it at me? Why wouldn't you say it by yourself? Considering the fact that you...
Well, if your car was making a real terrible noise, I might say I'm not a mechanic, but you should bring your car to a mechanic. You're making some terrible noises. I'm not a psychologist, but I think you should go see one.
So what? My brakes are sound a little fucked up? My brakes?
I do happen to be a pretty competent auto mechanic, so it's a bad example, but I think something's wrong with you. Yes.
What do you think's wrong with me?
I think that you I don't think that you've looked inward enough about why you're upset about these issues of politics. I think that you...
Who said I'm upset? Why would I be upset?
It seems to me like you're upset based on the way you communicate with me.
Well, I mean, we both established that Trump won the election, so why would I be upset?
I don't know. Why have you called in? Like, why are we having this conversation at all? You seem upset about me.
Like I told you, I mean, you immediately forgot. I mean, I told you before that I wanted to get more educated. I like to try to get more educated.
I don't think you've navigated this conversation the way a person who is seeking education would.
Well, that's on you, Mr. Teacher, Mr. Guru.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing I might say to a student. I might sit them down and say, I don't think the way that you're behaving in my class today is the way that somebody who really wants to learn is behaving. What's going on with you?
So what? Do I get disciplined for misbehaving or?
No, somebody who's dealing with those sorts of issues, like discipline's not really the approach.
Well, that would be the teacher, right? Given what detention. I mean, how you're explaining the teacher. Usually they handle with discipline. No,
I worry about the sort of teachers you've had in your life. If you think that a student who's struggling in that way should get detention, that's not how I'd handle that.
How would you handle it then?
With a conversation like this one, I might try to get to the root of what's going on. I might say, hey, you're being really disruptive. Everybody's trying to learn. I want you to learn. I want you to be really smart. I want you to have a good job. I want you to live a happy life. And I'm just having a hard time affecting change on that with you if you behave this way in my classroom. That's the sort of conversation that I might have with a student.
You know what? I'll tell you, you'd be a good teacher because a lot of teachers may not be like that. Maybe a teacher just don't want to deal with the bullshit. Teacher class or just get home because she's tired or, send them to the office and say, fuck it, I don't care about the kid. There's teachers that are like that. Not everybody's a good teacher like how you're representing right now.
Yeah, I think it's a shame that so many people have that experience with education. I think that that's something that's contributed to people being kind of like anti-educationists because they have had such nasty experiences with teachers that get fed up with them. Being a teacher's hard. You got to deal with a lot of people like that who are difficult, and it takes great emotional fortitude to be able to navigate it in a way that's focused 100% on their success instead of your own feelings about it. And I've been doing that for a very long time because I was a teacher for a very, very long time, which is why I think it's one of the reasons I'm pretty good at running this show is because it just doesn't really bother me when people are combative in the way that you've been or the way some of the previous callers have been. I'm just much more interested in understanding you and like trying to understand why you're behaving this way, because I think that some of the behavior that's been exhibited on the show today, not just from you but from other people and on the show generally, is bad behavior. It's bad for the world, that leads to bad outcomes for people. And part of the mission statement of this show is to understand those people better. And if I let my emotions get in the way, if I let myself get frustrated, sometimes that's the tool to get the show more entertaining so more people watch it. So I'll have like a real crazy crash out. But I make sure I only do that when people have been so reprehensible to me that it's not really unethical to crash out on them in that way. But for the most part, I just try to navigate these conversations from a place of understanding. I think that's most useful for the mission statement of the show.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like if I disagree with you, then you call me combatant, and that's kind of, you believe that the right wing has all this power, and I'm telling you, no, the left wing has all the power. They have, both.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to interrupt because I want to point out that, like, if you're curious, if you just levied an accusation, which is that if somebody disagrees with me, I'm going to call it combative. But I had a guest on just yesterday. Today's episode 94, and if you go listen to episode 93, I had a guest on. Mods, chat, correct me if I'm wrong if it was the day before. But I think it was yesterday's episode 93. I had a caller on who was totally reprehensible. He doesn't believe in the First Amendment. He thinks that we need to get rid of he disagrees with me in some ways that are even more serious than the ways that you seem to disagree with me. But I made a point of pointing out to him that he was being very polite and cooperative with the conversation, which made me able to platform the conversation in a calm and reasonable way. And I thanked him for that, even though he's one of the more reprehensible people I've ever spoken to, just if we're measuring by what his beliefs that he was arguing with me were. I had a caller on the evening show. I moved them from this like kind of hectic debate hour thing to my evening show, which is like off TikTok, so there's no filter. I had a guy who had such reprehensible religious fundamental beliefs that I thought, wow, you're actually able to engage with these topics in me in a way that's functional conversationally, even though we disagree so greatly. So I had Aaron Ravine on the evening show, and we did a whole episode on it. So I would just like to point out that I think you're wrong in that accusation, and there's plenty of evidence on my platform that that's not how I run the show.
Okay, so then you haven't explained to me why you feel like that I'm combative, though. You just said I need to see a therapist, and you said what I needed to do, but you haven't broken down to exactly why.
Well, you did a very aggressive form of gish galloping, where instead of addressing the things that we're currently talking about, you bring up additional details or kind of move on to the next thing before.
It's part of his presidency. His first term, second term. It's this whole presidency. It's not like I went back to when he was a kid, or when his father or his uncle or anything like that. I didn't go that far in history. I only started from his first term, and that was going against Hillary. He was the president. So
you're behaving very defensively, and you're talking about the validity of those topics instead of that's the issue with gish galloping, is that the topics can be important, the topics can be relevant, the topics can be related. But if we're talking about a particular claim, like how I feel about Trump being banned on Facebook all those years ago, we just don't really get anywhere if you move on to the next thing before we cover it. And I think it's defensive behavior because you're made uncomfortable by the fact, like, this is just me.
Absolutely not.
I'm speculating, but I detect that you're made uncomfortable by me being willing to engage calmly with those topics, which is why you reflexively, defensively try to move on to something else. And
no, that's not true, because I felt like we weren't going anywhere, so I wanted to move on to somewhere else. You were the one that obviously wasn't satisfied and wanted to stay there.
But the thing that was not going anywhere was me trying to hold you down to this thing that you brought up about Trump being banned on Facebook a long time ago. I had a lot to say about it, and I'm still sitting here feeling like you haven't responded to it, and that's why we weren't going anywhere.
You basically brought up how powerful the right wing and the misinformation, and I'm telling you that the left wing was doing the same thing. So we're both in agreement, but you don't seem to agree that the left was doing it, or is doing it still, like the right is doing it. And you bring up the money issue. They both have lobbyists. I don't know what you're talking about. So,
well, you're kind of doing it right now, where like I was talking about the Facebook banning and how I didn't feel that was terribly relevant. Now you're talking about both sides do it. And I don't like the both sides do it argument. I talk about it on the show all the time. Of course, you can find an example of somebody on the left doing something bad. There's lots of people on the left. Even if we're just looking at elected politicians, there's 5,400 state level representatives in this country. Of course, you can find an example of somebody on each side doing something bad. But you're really, really skating away. I think you're, whether it's intentional or not, I think you're really trying to avoid the rub of the issue, which is that it's a widespread, rampant issue on the right, and it's just kind of rare on the left. And when it happens on the left, people like me try to hold those people accountable. We don't stand behind them.
So, okay, give me an example of somebody on the left.
Tim Walz pardoned a rapist recently. There's some nuance to that. I'm a little closer to 50-50 on my opinion than somebody might think just hearing that he pardoned a rapist, but I think it was bad. I've criticized him for doing it.
You don't think he's did anything bad before pardoning a rapist?
No, he's been my governor for like 10 years. He's made some mistakes, but overall I was pretty happy with his performance as governor until his vice presidential run. I think he handled the campaign poorly. I was pretty disappointed.
Oh, absolutely did. And that was Kamala's pick.
Kamala.
Right? Kamala. Sorry,
I was excited that she picked him. If that was a mistake, it's a mistake that I would have made too, because I was over the moon excited when she picked him. But I can admit that I probably was wrong about that because his performance on the campaign trail was bad.
Well, also, you're from Minnesota, evidently. So, yeah. But maybe that has something to do with it too.
Yeah, I just bring up it helps my argument here for you to point out that I'm biased because he's my governor. That's the whole reason I brought him up. I'm telling you that I'm perfectly willing to be critical of people on my side. That's what I'm saying.
So you don't think he had anything to do with I mean, if you want to talk about Doge, you want to talk about the Leering Center, you want to talk about the Somalian
there was a fraud scandal here. It's ongoing. They're investigating it. I don't think that he did anything wrong, though, Tim Walz.
You know who Nick Shirley is, right?
Mm-hmm. Every time he comes up, Nick Shirley, call into the show.
You've seen the video, right? You've seen the video. Of course. Actual video.
It was filmed a few blocks away from where I live. Yeah. So it's a big story locally.
Would you consider that proof through that video?
No, it wasn't good proof of anything.
You didn't think that was good proof that you didn't see any children in that learning.
The particular daycare center that you're talking about, it was shown in the clip that Nick Shirley released that it was 1:30 because you could see the time on somebody's phone in the clip. The daycare center opened at 2 p.m. and ran until 10 p.m. It's a second shift daycare for people who work those hours. So in addition to the fact that it's not interesting that there weren't kids there, I would also point out as an educator that if a strange man showed up at the door of a place where I was working, caring for children, educating children, I wouldn't let them in the door, whether or not children were there. It's a health and safety issue. We don't let strangers in with cameras. Anybody who's a parent should understand that sort of policy.
And as an educator, if you see a sign that's misspelled, would you fix it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's embarrassing that they had a typo on their sign, but I don't think that's Tim Walz's fault, and we're talking about Tim Walz.
That's true. So, yeah, but you also brought
I also just straightforwardly, if I opened a daycare, I could imagine like calling up a sign company and being like, I want the sign to say Learning Center with some like clip art graphics or whatever, getting the sign, unrolling it. My brain is expecting it to say learning, hanging it on. I could be there on a ladder with a drill hanging that sign and not notice that it's misspelled. Let me finish. Because I could hang the sign, and knowing that it's called the Leering Center or the Learning Center, I might not notice that it says Leering. We were just doing descriptions on my videos. I forget if it was Jessie or Raven who spotted it. The top line of the descriptions on my YouTube account says like corrections and time stamps or whatever in the description. There's a typo. It said time stramps with an extra R in it. Like 100 videos in a row, it said time stramps instead of timestamps. Nobody noticed. I didn't notice. The two other employees who managed those descriptions didn't notice. This is a document we open every day and copy and paste for the new description. Not a single viewer pointed it out to me, even though I made this line, the one that's visible. It says like the little ... to expand. Before that, it says corrections, timestamps, and such in the description. Nobody noticed because we expect it what it's supposed to say. So I'm just like, if I'm going to speak from my heart and be intellectually honest, I'm not impressed that there's a fucking typo on a sign somewhere, dude. It doesn't mean that the governor's a fraudster. Get real.
Well, you're the one that brought that he was a fraudster. I just said the thing he did before the pardon, and you brought up the fraudster.
You brought up Nick Shirley, which is...
I brought up Nick Shirley after you brought up the fraudster.
Whichever. It's not really important to my point.
The timeline does matter if you want...
You brought up the typo, and I'm saying that the typo doesn't have anything to do with Tim Walz.
Yes, but I didn't bring up the fraud. You did.
Great. You brought up the typo. I don't think the typo has anything to do with Tim Walz.
But I never said fraud. You said fraud.
You brought up the typo. I don't think the typo has anything to do with Tim Walz.
No, but you brought up the fraud.
You brought up the typo, and I don't think that the typo has anything to do with Tim Walz.
But why would you say fraud? I brought up the typo, but you said fraud.
You brought up these concerns about the daycares. You said that I forget exactly who got there first on it. I don't think it matters. I just pointed out that no, I don't think Nick Shirley did any good reporting. I don't think he exercised journalistic integrity. I don't think he has the intelligence to exercise intellectual integrity. I think that, straightforwardly, I think that Nick Shirley is a doofus, which is why I continuously publicly challenge him to come on my show and have a conversation with me aired unedited, because if that happens, everybody else will know he's a doofus, which is why he will never do any such thing.
I think he's more of a journalist than a debater, to be honest with you.
I think that a journalist is somebody who should be able to hold their own in a debate about the things that they're journalists about.
Yeah, I mean, and then you would ask him certain questions about his profession and what he's doing and why he's doing it, where he went.
I don't think I'd have to work very hard to make Nick Shirley look bad, which is why I continue to challenge him to come on my show.
Well, I mean, it's like asking a boxer to come to a wrestling challenge, basically. No?
If the boxer says that they're good at wrestling, he claims to be intelligent. He claims to be well versed on this stuff. He claims to be an important academically, intellectually, journalistically honest person, and I'd like to demonstrate otherwise.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't really know what you're. I don't really know why you're on my show, dude. What is this?
Usually you ask a certain question. I mean, I like I told you, I'll go back again.
Keep her kick chat. He's been on a while. Here, I'll read some donations while the poll rolls in on that, and we'll see. Jessie, do me a favor. Here, find which of these was most recent. A lot of these came in. Just click on them and find which one of those most.
I try to keep up with the likes on the super chats.
Yeah. I realize we're doing that now because the donations are getting the fuck out of hand.
Glad to help.
Sure. Horsepower Pull-Up sent $5 on YouTube Super Chat to say, this caller can't make an argument. He can only try to rhetorically suggest things. Yeah, that does seem to be the strategy. Stupid YouTube Super Chat stuff.
You do have to tap on these. This is a garbage the
Venmo thing is super duper broken. Just find where we are on it. Not able to. Oh wait, I already read these. I forgot to like them as I went. Keep up the great work, man. Thank you, Met, for the $2 Canadian. I think I need a cold shower after these calls. Yeah, Kronos, I agree. I'm gonna. I wish I wasn't so busy today. I need to unwind after this episode.
Probably have a shower beforehand.
I did have a shower beforehand.
Not you, the person who wrote that. Your biased followers that will write anything just to go against me because I'm debating against you, because that's what liberals do. And you want to write stupid science that said Magna is weak-minded, and you have a bunch of weak-minded liberal biased bums that will always. Sorry, I don't mean to be talking about your money bag, but this is what they do. They're biased, right? And no matter what I say, they're going to say kick and write all this bullshit about me. I'd like to finish reading the donations. But they don't got the balls to say anything. They don't have the balls to come on here. They don't have the balls.
Jimmy, I'm warning you. You're coming after Kronos. This stuff only makes him stronger.
Thank you, Matthew, for the galaxy.
I don't mind making him stronger. I absolutely don't. I hope he makes his bag.
All right. I think the chat wants to see your face. Let's see if you're willing. Oh, no, you don't even have camera privileges. Is this a burner account? What is this? Well, anyway, I'm going to get back to reading the donations. Jazz sent $5 to say, comedy is now legal, says neo-Nazi Elon Musk before banning anyone that mocks him or Trump too publicly while he builds his automatic CP generator. Yeah. Yep. Sean sent $2 to say, we all care about but are too polite to mention. I'm not even sure what he was talking about, but I'm sure it was a good point. Nikki sent $2 to say, what is going on? Caller, just stop. They spelled it in a way that made me think that's how I was supposed to read it. That one guy with a really long name sent $2 to say, caller is sharp as a rubber ball. What adult? Tavi sent $5 to say, Jimmy, gonna hold your hand while I say this. You are not doing pretty good. Ooh, yeah. Jammer sent $2 to say, donating just to make this caller wait and listen. Thank you for the $2. Bran sent $5 to say, dude is is bound and determined to put those 3 geriatric brain cells to work, combating every word spoken. So what makes you think the sky is blue? Kronos sent another $5 to say, you're making bad noise. Nicest way to call someone an asshole, and I'm gonna use that. Yeah. His engine making some concerning noises. Thank you, Jessie. And then Hell's Pacifist sent $5 to say, please see if the caller understands building capacity better than Nick Shirley and his entourage. A capacity of 90 doesn't mean 90 you have to be inside. Yeah, that was something about the capacity of the daycare there. But again, it's all bad journalism. Kronos sent $20 to say, caller, that cold shower is for Oscar talking about butt stuff, and Jessie knows me too well. I'm gonna remember this like a telltale game. Jennifer sent $2 to say, we are no Burns. Also fix your shiz, Venmo. Yeah, Venmo's stuff. And then Christina sent $2 to piss off the guest. I think it might be working. Thank you, Christina. Lloyd sent $5 to say, oh, this is Machete. He says, tell Jimmy the whole world is biased against the uneducated, not just your chat. Burn. I think that is kind of the problem that's going on here. Megan sent $1 to say, therapist here. Here's a secret. Lots of therapists have therapists. Yes. Once again, the idea that you have a therapist is not necessarily that like something's going wrong. It's just helpful for some people. David sent $5 to say, hey, yeah, we can just move on to the next donation. Thank you, David. I will. Emily sent $25. I love how you communicate so uniquely and engage with people that most wouldn't in order to break through. You are so uniquely suited for this, Oscar, and then a heart emoji. Thank you very much, Emily. I really do appreciate you. I feel very seen as the ex-teacher that I am, dealing with the judge on TikTok instead of the poor kids who lost their education to COVID in the high school I just quit teaching at. Sydney sent $5 to say, restarting the VOD, possibly a Google form to get info from cross-app members. Also, good morning, Oscar and Jessie. Hope your pillow is cold tonight. Yeah, we might that might be the way to do it. We might do like a Google Sheet like form thing where people can put in a screenshot showing that that they have a membership, and then that way we can get them the link. That's a good idea.
Private message me. Lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, Sydney, get in touch with staff. Jessie, PerilousRamen. Anyway, Michael sent $5 to say, Diddy Kong Shrek, my TikTok name. The very way that you handle this conversation with Jerry Diamond is one of the main reasons I support you, Oscar. Keep up the great work, man. We need more people like you in this world, and I'm deeply thankful for how you influence it. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to do my best. I'm just trying to leverage what I'm good at for this thing. That was Michael, and then we've got David. Jimmy Dumbass Diamonds asked you to bring up a Democrat who did something wrong, and now he's mad that you brought up Walls. This guy is dumb as fuck. Yeah, that was kind of the thing. I offered that as an example of like just the fact that I am not like unwilling to engage with that sort of stuff. And then, somebody became a member. Chester, welcome to the membership over on YouTube. He'll be in the members only chat. That's the easy one. I think we should start saying that YouTube's the best place just because it kind of is.
It is.
Lucky Phil sent $2 to add. Some people consult a therapist. Stay open. So many donations. No, I don't mean to click share. I want to read the message. Thank you, Lucky Phil. Some people consult a therapist. MAGA worship the rapist. I'm tired. This isn't my best work. PP poo poo. Thank you, Lucky Phil. We appreciate you. Anything over on Cash App? I wasn't looking.
I want to say a little extra thank you to Kronos for the 20 and I think like a 50 or something earlier too. Kronos, you're my bestie. Thank you. And an super extra thank you to Metal Gods for the 100 clams earlier. I get to eat today because of you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm just kidding. Oscar paid me well.
We don't let the staff eat unless we meet the donation goals. Shush! You and Parker blowing up my fucking spot. David sent another $5 to say, I know Jimmy punching air right now with all this shit. I think there's more to that message. Let's see if Venmo dropped the ball on that one. With all the shit talk, cope, Jimmy. All right, Jimmy. Wow, he's still here. Let's just scroll back and make sure that we were clear on whether or not we were going to kick him, because I think wait, my mouse. Get your hands off the mouse, Jessie. Yeah, there they are. There are all the kicks. Lots and lots of kicks. Whoa, look at that. Anything you have to say for yourself before you go, Jimmy?
Good luck with your success.
Don't need it. Thank you. 70 Grave, we're going to talk to you. We got 18 minutes left before we abruptly end the show at exactly 12 because I have plans today. We're going to go support Ian Austin at his court hearing a little bit later today. How old are you?
Me?
Yes, you.
42.
You support Trump?
I do.
Well, why is that?
Because I refuse, as I told Dean yesterday, to have an actual lying politician represent me. Or the nation.
Okay, this is fucking. I already saw that your account doesn't have camera privileges, so it's either brand new or private. But when people bring,
it's totally brand new.
No.
TikTok is,
when people bring me so bullshit a concern, like, oh no, you don't want a lying politician, so you voted for Donald Trump. I just don't fucking take you seriously at all. That's fucking ridiculous.
Well, you can ask why, or you can just throw that out there.
Sure. Why?
Okay. So, for example, and hopefully you'll let me get it through, right? When Barack Obama, just for example, said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, the harm that lie caused was immense. And that's a skilled politician right there.
The question was, do you honest? Okay, go ahead.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Trump has got a fat mouth. He is loose-lipped and he sucks at articulating. That's happened well before politics, when he was still in Hollywood, when he was doing The Apprentice, when he was a celebrity. Everybody knows that man cannot formulate sentences that well. I would much rather have that.
All right, hold on. Jessie, I thought I was going to make it till 12. Come take the chair. I need to use the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to talk to my producer, Jessie, for a moment.
Yep, okay.
I can't hear him while I'm in there, so you just... Good luck.
Hi. Oh my God. Hi. Yeah. So you brought up the healthcare thing. I'd like to go ahead and zone in on that because that's my wheelhouse here. Yeah. So you said that the harm that Obama's administration caused with the whole doctor comment. Tell me what Trump's done for healthcare recently.
What has he done for healthcare recently? I don't even think that's been on the docket for him because there's so many other things.
That is false. He made cuts to Medicaid, and people that I work with every day are losing their healthcare. Me included, actually. I'm kind of self-employed here. So I'm affected by this. It's hard for me to get healthcare right now. It's hard for me to get things done. So, and that is a new thing as of the Trump administration. I watched as my patients lost certain privileges, certain doctor visits that they couldn't make anymore. So I personally, with experience, think the net negative caused by this current administration is much worse to healthcare.
So he cut it by 1.1 trillion over a 10-year period to take out the ACA part of the situation. I don't see the problem in that. Why can't people work, have a job, and then be in the same sector as everybody else finding insurance?
So I'm working a job right now.
Okay.
And I'm struggling with the healthcare aspect because these cuts have been made that have made it more difficult for me to afford my healthcare.
I can empathize.
Yeah.
I can empathize with that the same way that I empathize when construction workers don't have jobs and they have to sit on an extended period of time before they find another job. I mean, it's almost like you're saying...
So we shouldn't help them either.
No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that you're saying, unless my needs can be met, no matter what my decision is to, job-wise, unless my needs can be met, then there's a problem. And so then everybody else who maybe doesn't have the type of job that you do, right? Then you're saying all of you guys are suckers who have jobs and who provide insurance, and then you have to pay into it. That's for the birds. It should just be provided by taxes.
Okay. Yep. So then the other marginalized group is people with disabilities. Do you think they don't deserve health care either?
Are we talking you're talking physical disabilities and wheelchair stuff like that?
Yep.
Yes, I think that is something that most Americans would get behind, including myself. Yes.
That they don't deserve health care?
No, they do. They absolutely deserve all the help in the world, for sure.
They got hit by the cuts worse than I did.
In what way?
So, before this administration... Yeah. And I need to be sitting at my computer to pull up the correct numbers. But before this administration, they were protected in that they received a certain stipend every month and how much they were allowed to have in savings and spend. And that has decreased to what a lot of people that I have heard are telling me is no longer livable. So I do need to pull up the numbers. I do apologize for not being prepped for the numbers.
That's all right. Because what I'm reading here is it just says mandates that able-bodied adults ages 19 to 64 to enroll in making sure that they are able to provide proof on why they cannot possess a job. So I'm assuming a disabled person, wheelchair bound, can't, actively do that. They are going to fall into that other area of tax paid for healthcare. At least that's what I'm gathering from what I'm reading, but You want to jump back in here?
Sure.
It's just your show.
Here, swap headphones. Oh, we're gonna get
There
all
are
tangled.
too many cords.
We're gonna get all tangled up. Hold on, I'm wearing yours. Take them.
Oh.
There we go. And that. See, we're all tangled up now. Here, take your mic.
Oh.
Ah.
I'm so sorry, caller.
I'm back. I missed a lot of that, but Jessie can still hear you. And she's
I'll be jumping on finding sources. Oscar, you can just do your thing.
That's cool.
Where'd my mouse?
And there was somebody in your chat that said it all depends on who's making the decision as to able-bodied. I mean, we got to have a little bit of reference here, right? I mean, able-bodied means just that. Not, I don't feel like it. Not, I'm depressed and I need to be on a bunch of pills and finding a job, and all of that is just too much for me to handle. We're talking able-bodied adults, non-handicapped folks. So I don't know why, that sentence was even said, but anyway, I don't know if you want to change the subject now that.
I don't know. You started on saying that like you didn't want liars representing you, so you voted for Trump, and did we make any progress on understanding that nonsense?
Well, she wanted to talk about the ACA. My whole thing is that there are lies that cause real harm, and then there's loose-lipped, boastful, dumbass comments that Trump is guilty as charged for.
Yeah, I think that you probably don't consider a lot of his lies harmful because they don't harm you. That's my guess on that one.
Well, I mean, I guess, could you tell me a lie that, I guess, to have a debate about singularity,
here's an example. Trump attempted to deny the Second Amendment to people who are trans because of a lie that is propagated by the right, that trans people are in some way violent or dangerous or responsible for mass shootings or something like that, which is nonsense. They're greatly underrepresented in the cohort of people who commit mass shootings and just violence in general. So that's a lie that he used to try to do a thing that thankfully the Supreme Court saw as so obviously unconstitutional. Even the NRA was against him on that one. So that's really harmful. That's really harmful rhetoric that makes life very, very dangerous for trans people, because there's people who are going to try to harm them because they think that they're harmful. I don't think that affects you, so I don't think you give a shit. But I think that's a very harmful lie that he told.
Well, the NRA is an organization that knows that once you open up any small can of worms, it opens up the possibility for a larger can of worms to be opened up down the line. So I understand why they did not agree with it, because they think that everybody.
Do you agree with it, though?
Oh, absolutely not. But that's a personal preference.
Right. But the lie, you wanted to know about a lie that was harmful. Do you recognize that the lie that trans people are violent is harmful?
Well, I want to be careful because Dean started crying yesterday, and I want to make sure that I don't cross any of your lines.
Talk to me, dude. Yeah, just answer the fucking question. Do you recognize that it's harmful to lie?
Calm down. Okay. I think that per capita, people who I identify as that are mentally unstable, and they are more prone to violence than people who are not mentally unstable.
And you're calling trans people mentally unstable?
Well, it is a mental instability. I mean, it is gender
no, dude,
dysphoria.
Yeah, but look, the DSM has moved away from defining it that way. I think you probably know that, and I think you're just holding on to older definitions because they support your political perspective on this better. So you don't think it's a lie. You think it's accurate to say that trans people are dangerous.
Okay, so I don't want to be like your other guests. I want to answer you directly. Yes.
Okay, why do you think that?
Why do I think that? I mean, do you just want me to give it to you in a nutshell?
Yeah.
Because I can, off the top of my mind right now, think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going back to Tennessee, them walking into schools.
Right. Okay. So among mass shootings, 5,743 caused by non-transgender people and 5 caused by trans people, which represents 0.09%. Is that the sort of data? Are you talking about? Are you going to tell me about these 5 examples? Is that what you were about to do? What's the strategy here?
Well, this is where I hope that the audience understands what I tried to convey earlier. Per capita, there's obviously way more people that are not mentally ill that are going to obviously cause more harm because their numbers are higher. but per capita, these individuals who do suffer from this mental, whatever word is appropriate for you.
Okay, let's do it.
Doing what they're doing is crazy.
No, stop. I showed you some information, and you wanted to go by you wanted to go by per capita. So 2.8 million, right?
2.8 million. What?
Trans people.
Let's be real here. This is now more of a fad now, but do you really think that there's 2.9 people actually transgender?
What number should I use? Because it's going to be the denominator in a fraction where the numerator, it's going to be a denominator where the numerator is the number 5. So I don't think it matters whether it's 2 or 3 million for the math problem we're about to do together.
I would say just to answer your question, I think that a quarter of that number is actually real.
Okay, so when Trump tries to take away weapons from people who identify as trans, you're going to say that that's only applicable to a subset of people that you're making up instead of looking at the actual data. I can't have the graph up. I can't do the math with you if you're just going to assert that the numbers are different than they actually
go
are.
With 2.9 million. I mean, make your point. I mean, I'm not stopping.
Per million, how many people is that? If across the I forget the time span on this. Let's see. Between January 2013 and September of 2025, there were 5. So how many let's make it an even 2.5 million. We're doing back of the envelope math here. We're just going to get it roughly. Seems to be about 2 for every million people. Is that about right?
Sure.
Okay. And because this is a longer cohort, like the math doesn't work perfectly, but we're just going to compare it in the same way. How many people are there in the country?
375 million.
Okay, let's make sure that this is United States population. Okay, right. So we're talking about United States population. So we have 5,700 roughly. Where's my phone? Let's get a calculator out. We got 5,700, and I think 375 is maybe a little bit big, but we'll just can we go by 350? That's kind of the number that I like to use. I think that's
whatever.
Again, I don't think adjusting one of these numbers by a few percent is going to make a big difference. But we have 5,700, and the denominator this time is 350 million. Let's do the math right here. Oh, and I should inverse that to see how many it is per million. Where's that? 1 over x. There we go. Okay, so that's 61,000 per every million. Oh wait, no, I got it complete. I must have done my math completely wrong. That doesn't pass the sniff test. What was it? It was 50.
May I just say one thing real quick? Since you're doing it, I'm Googling here.
Oh, that's one in every 65,000. I said it backwards. It's 1 in every 60 something thousand instead of 1 in every 500,000. If we're going to say it was 2 per every million for trans people.
How about this? The victimization rate, transgender.
Hold on. No. Don't say how about this. Answer to what I just said. You wanted per capita. We said we did a little bit of back of the envelope math, which just means imprecise math with rounded numbers, just to get the idea across. We found that for trans shooters, it's about 1 in every 500,000 trans people, and for non-trans people, it's about 1 in every 60-something thousand people, which is much more. It's a rate that's about 5 times more.
Okay, and in my opinion, okay, and call me crazy, and I'm okay with that. I do not believe, and we'll just kind of take like Elliot Page's position. I don't believe that there's a 500,000. Yes. Yeah. Well, just kind of that, meaning that's like full blown. I'm transitioning. This is a life choice. I'm going all the way.
So you get to decide when they're trans people, if it helps your argument.
Well, like a guy wearing a dress, is
that's
not
cross-dressing. That's not the same thing as somebody being transgender.
That's why I said there's levels. That's why I just said let's take Elliot Page as just a common denominator. And so if you're going to sit there and tell me that a guy wearing a dress is just cross-dressing, I'm just saying that there's many levels to this mental illness. And so whether somebody's at level 1 or they're all the way to level 10, right, whatever, that's their business. All I'm saying is that the number of people who are in that sphere cause way too much harm, and what they're doing as well. Like, we're not talking about 7-Eleven stick-ups here.
We're talking about mass shootings.
Yeah. Fair. That's a big one. But, even just violence. I mean, you can see clips all over the place. I just saw one the other day. Some dude freaked out, yelling his ass off because the police didn't use the appropriate pronouns. Just lost it. I'm sure you saw it recently. It was a few days ago. And it's like that kind of instability should not I'm not going to go, you know what?
Dude.
Here, you should have the second amendment.
You're just moving past the data. Like you need to assert that if you're trying to take rights away from people, you need to have data that backs up that it's a reasonable thing to do, and you don't. So you're just saying that the denominator in this equation about how dangerous trans people is something other than what it is. That's ridiculous. It's dishonest.
But they are, though.
No, what do you mean?
They are, though, because when's the last time you read an article about a transgender, for example, like sticking up a 7-Eleven?
Don't call them a transgender.
Fine. What do you want? What's the appropriate TikTok? What can I say to you?
It's not about TikTok. You're not going to get banned for that. It's just disrespectful. Just call them a trans person.
Oh, no, I can say what I want.
You can say what you want, and everybody, okay, yes, and it hurt my feelings. It's going to hurt other people's feelings. So you're a piece of shit, and you're okay with being a piece of shit. Understood. Moving on with the conversation.
Just answer me, though. When's the last time, or even the chat can answer, when's the last time that you read an article or read something on the news or heard it?
What does that have to fucking do with the math problem? No, I'm not. Shut up. Shut your fucking mouth, you bigot. Okay. I'm not fucking interested in an anecdote. I'm not interested in what you saw in the news. I'm not interested in you listing examples of a trans person doing something because there's millions of them. And of course you can find an example of a trans person doing something unfavorable. I'm not fucking interested in that. If you want to run the country on policies made by your reckoning about what you see about looking out the window, you're going to hate the sort of policies that people make about people like you by looking out the window and reckoning what they think is right. It's not the way we make policy. It's not the way we protect people. It's not the way we...
I'm just a level-headed person, Oscar.
No, you aren't. No, you aren't. I'm able to leverage my excitement about this and how passionate I am about it to be able to effectively argue with bigots like yourself, but you are too emotional about these
small... But you're unwilling to see the big picture.
You are unwilling... You may not
No.
answer a question because you've levied an accusation against me that is false. You are accusing me of not looking at big picture when I am looking at the data about the things that you're talking about, and you are zooming in on a small number of cases. You are not unintelligent. I'm just using my own lie detector here. You know that what you're doing is intellectually dishonest. You know that you're the one refusing to look at the big picture. You know you're the one who's refusing to look at the data accurately.
Would you say that you utilize common sense?
No. Yes. Common sense sucks.
Okay, are you being facetious?
Common sense is a fucking terrible tool for making good policy. Humans are bad at reasoning about things just from common sense. No, I don't use common sense.
Okay, so you don't find it at all odd that the handful of examples have been violent towards elementary kids. You don't find that odd, like
no, when they are underrepresented among people who are violent against children, which means that it is ridiculous to have your focus on the 5 times across 5,700 cases that the perpetrator of a mass shooting has been trans. It is obnoxiously disrespectful to the parents of those dead children for you to focus on those 5 cases for no good data-driven reason. There is no data that drives your type of perspective. The only thing that drives your type of perspective is hate for these people, is lack of understanding about them. It is bigotry, plain and simple. And I think you know that, and I don't think that you care. I think you want to see trans people suffer, and I think that you leverage these bad arguments in favor of that goal because you know that I'm the one making good arguments that are driven by data. All you can do is say the only way that you can get out of the data-driven part of this conversation is by proposing that there are fewer trans people than there are in order to make it look like they are more represented among the data. Horse shit. You know it. My audience knows it. Let's not operate with an understanding that nobody in the room has, because everybody here knows your strategy. Try again.
There was no strategy. I'm just saying I will not be the type of person where I will look at something and go, nah, there's nothing to it. That's just haphazard.
No, that's exactly what you're looking at, because you looked at this. You looked at this pie chart. By the way, this circle on the screen, it's a pie chart. It's not even one fucking pixel, the slice of this pie that trans people are responsible for. You looked at this and said, nah, I don't think so. So yes, you're doing exactly that. Get real.
Okay. I mean, I guess we'll have to agree to disagree. I mean, I don't know if you wanted to move on. You're the one that, brought up this Second Amendment shit with transgenders. I mean, there's I think more to discuss than that.
No, last thing before we move on, just because I'm running out of time, you're welcome to call in another day. But you did look at this data and hand wave it away, and accused me of looking at data and hand waving it away. Why did you do that?
Hand waving away. I think that per capita, the level of crimes, of violence.
We did the per capita math and demonstrated that non-trans people are more dangerous.
Way above normal.
No, that's ridiculous. We did not do that. We did the math together and found that you are wrong by a factor of 5, and you're sitting here and pretending that didn't happen. You are once again hand waving away that more careful analysis of the data that we did upon looking at this pie chart. Nonsense. Doesn't work on me, dude. My attention span's too long to sit here and have you lie about what just happened in this conversation.
Right.
You clicking, you Googling around for something to get you out of the corner?
Absolutely.
You're not going to find...
You think I'm going to fucking walk around with transgender stats in my head, Oscar? Come on.
Oh, then you shouldn't call in and argue about how much you know about stats.
You're the one that brought it up. God
listen.
It.
Yeah, and we had a conversation about it, and you're saying that I'm not engaging with the data, and the words out of your mouth just now is that you're not going to walk around with statistics about transgenders in your head, which is an offensive way to say it that you don't fucking care about for any fucking reason at all, because you don't actually care about these people suffering for some fucking reason. No, it's fucking ridiculous, dude. How can you refuse to look at the data and then tell me that I'm the one who's refusing to look at the data?
Okay, when you say that they're suffering, what you actually mean
I'm informing you that trans people don't like you using that word in the same way that people of color don't like people like you using the N-word, and that's a good enough reason to not do it if you were a decent human being.
Oh, so, okay, what is the appropriate word, Oscar?
Trans individual, trans person.
Oh my God.
Trans woman, trans man, those are the ones. You can say, "Oh my God," but I'm just informing you about what they prefer.
Okay.
And if
it
you
wasn't like I threw out, it wasn't like I said TRANNY. So,
great, congratulations.
Relax.
Yes,
right.
congratulations.
So
but you just aren't exercising any care about engaging with this topic in a way that doesn't harm innocent people's feelings, which demonstrates to me that you're an asshole. Which is really just a side point from all the actual data that we're arguing.
Society as a whole, man. We're talking about society as a whole, not someone's feelings. This is probably what's wrong with our country.
If it doesn't cost you,
people are more interested in how they feel than
reality. Ethical question before I kick you, just because I'm out of time for today. If it doesn't cost you anything to say the right word, don't you think that it'd be a nice thing for you to do, just because it would hurt people's feelings less? Which is what I doesn't hurt my feelings. I just know from my trans friends telling me that they don't like that particular word, that it tends to get weaponized by the right. It's kind of a dog whistle. So when people say it, I like to point out, hey, they don't like you using that word. And if you're a decent human being, here's the question again. Don't you think that if it doesn't cost you anything to say the right word, you can just give it your best effort, because that'd be a nice thing to do?
I'm not going to lie to people, Oz. I can't do it.
What do you mean lie to people? What's the lie?
I can't sit. If you're a guy, I'm going to say him, he, right? I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
So you've moved on from just not using the right word for addressing trans people. Shut your mouth and listen. Use your ears. Use your ears. Transgender is a word that's acceptable. Calling a person a transgender is what they don't like, and that's what I'm pointing out to you.
How do you not hear how stupid that sounds, dog? Oh my gosh! You can say transgender, but you can't say
I'm
it
just
in a
telling
form
you they
of
don't like
identifying someone. Like, what?
Yeah, and then you're separately saying that you're going to misgender them on purpose, which is also shitty, but that's separate. We could talk about that another time, because I'm out of time for today.
All right.
What a piece of shit. My God. I hope he calls back in. I'm not done with that motherfucker, but I'm out of time for today.
Did you see chat clocking that he was being kind of gross on Dean's yesterday?
Yeah, I heard about it. I just try not to drag in people's performance elsewhere. Let's get through the donations and wrap the show for the day, because we got plans to do. We're going to go see Ian Austin, hopefully. He might be busy. He might have a lot of attention, so we're going to go see if we can shake his hand. Anyway, Michelle sent $25 on Buy Me a Coffee to say bigoted guest, quote, "I'm a level-headed person. Oscar provides data proving trans people aren't more violent. Bigoted guest, nah, I'm going to keep being a bigot based on feelings, not facts. Keep up the good fight." Thank you for the $25, Michelle. I really do appreciate it. Hopping over to Venmo, I have no idea where I was. Holy shit. Okay, I definitely read Emily. I think I read Sydney. Okay, wait, no, I remember. We had 2 Davids. That's right. I read both Davids. I'm pretty sure. I know Jimmy is punching air right now. Yep, that was the last one. I'm pretty sure we'll read after that. Sorry for the lack of organization. When a caller like that is on, I get tons of small donations. It's very hard to keep track. Jamie sent $10 to say, "Kick Jimmy. Also, the sky is purple." Yep. They know the type of logic we're dealing with today. Peter sent $25 on Venmo to say, "This guy, 70 grade, was excusing all of Trump's sexual assault actions yesterday on Dean's Live in the most disgusting manner. He literally said, 'I'm sure all those girls would have consented if they had the opportunity,' talking about Miss America girls." Fucking disgusting. I'd love for that guy to keep calling. And like I said, I'm not done with him. Zachary sent $5 to say, if Venmo will load it correctly. Zachary sent $5 to say, Tell the guest to take Deadpool off his profile picture. Deadpool is a pansexual and supports trans rights. Good fucking point. These people don't even realize that they engage. The hurt that all these chuds would feel if they became aware of the times they were sexually attracted to a trans person who passed and just didn't know it, just went on with their day. You clocked that ass walking down the street, thought, wow, I like that, and you didn't know. You'd been, according to you'd been got. Maybe you should be more secure in your sexuality so that sort of thing doesn't bother you when it happens. That's my recommendation. David sent $5 to say he had to swipe past the thousands of cis violent videos to find the one trans person who screamed about their pronouns. Oh no, people are upset about words. We should ignore the fact that children die in school shootings at the hands of white men more than any other group. Absolutely the type of reasoning these sorts of callers use. Mark sent $1 to say bigots like that guest are truly harmful people. I think he sent more than that. Venmo fails sometimes when I click on a donation. It doesn't read the whole message. I have to click it again. I think that might have been it. Sorry if I missed any of that. And then Jessie, not producer Jessie, somebody else sent $5 to say, I couldn't be more proud of you for treating 70-year-old Grandy like that. That man is walking human poison. Just got to be straightforward with these people. I'm allowed to be fucking upset. They act like me being upset about their behavior makes me wrong. But at the same time, they act like them being upset about somebody else's behavior makes them right. It's fucking crazy. Lucky Phil sent $2 more on Buy Me a Coffee to say, last dono message is in your Discord DMs. Ooh, I will read that. Jessie, make sure I read that after I get through the rest of the donations. Just remind me that in a second. Because we're going to get over to YouTube Super Chat. And I don't think I was very diligent about clicking these hearts. Were we all the way back here? Holy cow. Yep. Wow, we got lots to read. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Jazz said $5 to say comedy is now legal, says neo-Nazi Elon Musk before. Wait, no. Wait, we did read that.
We did. I dropped the ball in the messages. Bad noise was red. Keep going.
Yeah, we read all that. Thank the
we left off at Jennifer. We are no bums. Also, fix your shiz, Venmo. I think I might have. No, the next Jennifer.
The next one. Okay, sorry for dropping the ball on that, everybody. Jennifer also sent $2 to say Kronos never sleeps and works too much. I agree. Kronos, take care of yourself. Snake sent $5 to say YouTube chat for the win. Love what you're doing, Oscar. Thank you, Snake. He handles most of the news over on the Discord. Nada, some username sent $10 to say, I hope you're enjoying your entrepreneurship. Reminder to recommend a book for me. Thanks. I'll get to that. I need to go through my books and come up with some book recommendations. Alina sent the therapy poo poo feed the staff sandwich emojis. Thank you for the $2. Gio sent $2 to say W Jessie. This caller said that Trump lie about the election is just Trump's personal opinion. Caller is unserious. Ask him if he tastes like Cheetos or bronzer. Yeah, shame I couldn't tell him to turn his camera on because he didn't have the privilege or something, because it's like a burner troll account, because what a piece of shit. He's not going to show his face. Chrono sent another fucking $50. Chrono is fucking making it rain today. W Jessie in the hot seat. Fuck yeah, get his ass. Like I'm gonna get Oscar's. Gross. Chrono, no sexualizing the host. No, Chrono's just allowed to sexualize the host. He donates too much money for me to mind. He's made a prostitute of me. Can't control me here, other mods. Seriously though, love you all. Raven, Jessie, and Oscar. We need a producer cam that they can turn on and off just so we can see more of them. Yeah, maybe we'll get that set up. Here's $20 to hose down Kronos before he gets himself in trouble. Thank you, Elusive Viper, for the $20 on YouTube Super Chat. Nikki sent $10 to say, I work for a nonprofit in Kentucky and they just cut millions to our funds for crisis help in mental health care. Multiple of us will be out of work in 2 weeks. Tell me how this is okay, caller. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna have a good answer. Tavi sent $10 to say, caller, you referenced handicap in only a physical sense. Would you allow someone depressed or living with anything else mental to own a gun? Why or why not? Yes.
I just want to say thank you, because you guys saw I was getting pressed not having the sources on hand. I didn't expect to go up today, otherwise I would have prepped better. So Nikki and Tavi, I saw your chats come in and it really made me feel better. Thank you guys so much for trying to help me out there. This is hard. That was hard. That was scary and hard, and I didn't like it. This is the Oskar Quentin show, not the Jessie show, and I think that was proven today. But thank you guys for being supportive and lovely anyways.
You did wonderfully.
One more there.
Losing track all of it. There we go. The Great J sent $10 to say, how do you deal with the intelligence of the guest? They connect concepts together. Like if A leads to B, B leads to C. The guest can't understand that A leads to C. How do we even have convos with these people? It's hard. Got to work with the tools they have, and they often don't have very many tools at all. Tavi sent another $5 to say, dishonest. The video was about a person who was already having a mental break separate from the cops, and the cops intentionally misgendered them. Yeah, that's shitty. Beth became a member. Welcome to the team over on YouTube. Rellin sent $5 to say, it's dehumanizing. Imagine if this guy was called a white. Yeah, I mean, he might like that. I don't know. And then Tyluji, I don't know how to pronounce this username, but they sent me $5 to say, this caller won't recognize the suffering of marginalized groups. There's literally a trans genocide in the USA. The caller is going to hate crime someone. Yeah, you know, genocide watch groups are concerned about what's going on in the US right now. Where did Lucky Phil say that last message was? Did he say that it's in the Discord DMs? I don't remember. Did he send another pee poo poo? I think he did. He says it's in my Discord DMs. I want to make sure that gets read. Oh, there he is. Oh, it's a picture of dick butt, and it says, "That is all." Let's see. Can I get this up on the thing? Oh, perfect. Yeah, just a picture of dick butt. He says, "That's all." Thank you very much, Lucky Phil. Thank you for ending the show on that wonderfully mature note. I totally appreciate it. W's in the chat for all the donors. W's in the chat for all the people who helped me run the show. W's in the chat for the callers today, making today the weird, like, Oscar, like, sexual openness and therapy hour.
Oscar talks about butt stuff. Tune in tomorrow where we talk about something else.
Yeah. It's politics and related subject matter, whatever I allow on the show. That's the show for today. Linktree in the bio to support or follow me or get on the Discord or all that stuff. Watch the show when I'm off air in VOD form over on YouTube. All that bullshit. Catch you tomorrow, 10 o'clock Central Time. Anything else, Jessie? Did I forget anything?
No, thank you guys again. I see your chats, and I really appreciate all of you. You guys are freaking awesome.
Goodbye, TikTok. And goodbye, YouTube.